little late. Hi. I couldn't find my drawing glove. I was rushing around. I had it for a second, then I lost it, then I had it, then I lost it. Well, hi everyone. Hi, Toolshed. Welcome. little breaker. Hold on. Let me go ahead and turn on that timer. We'll give it a... That usual 5 minutes. We'll do 3 minutes. Excited. It's been maybe 2-ish minutes already. But how are all of you? How did your Halloween go? Let me try to get a little more comfy here. Just a few adjustments here and there. Get all nice. Hi, Dulce Knight. How are you? Welcome to stream. And hi, Jazz Boy. Welcome back. I believe welcome back. I think I've seen that name before. Welcome indeed. Let me make sure. Okay, so that's working. I think we're all good to go. And I just realized, hold on, let me go ahead and pop this out. Hi, Giraffe. Welcome, everyone. This is, I partied a little bit too hard last night for Halloween. I stayed up a little bit watching some Halloween movies. You know, Corpse Bride, Monster House, and Addams Family. Ate some pumpkin pie I made. Also ate some pumpkin cheesecake. And then this morning, I had some pumpkin latte. Well, that's what I'm drinking right now. I say this morning. It's 1 p.m. But overall, very nice. And hi, DCat. Welcome to stream. Welcome, everyone. Okay, so I think if I do this, there we go. Wonderful, I can see all of chat now. Hi, chum, welcome. Corpse Bride is peak. It was wonderful. I hadn't seen it. I think that was my first time seeing it before. I've seen so many gifs of it, but I've actually never seen it. So it was nice to watch, and nice. Tim Burton stuff is always wonderful. Nightmare Before Christmas is one of my favorites. So it's always nice, you know, to kind of go back and sit back, relax, chillax, and have some fun rehashing of memories. It's always nice. Aside from Halloween, though, how you played any games, done any art, done any of the things of the Yennies? Any at all? Let me also, while I'm at it, do this so I don't forget that, where are we at? Let me do that. There we go. Okay, I think that should help a little bit. And, okay, I did read. Indeed, this is exciting, this is fun. I wanted to make sure I streamed Pixelart this week, and I feel like I'm a little, hold on. Does that help? I still feel like I'm a little, hold on. Oh, I'm changing. There we go. I think that helped a little bit. But I wanted this weekend to kind of be the pedal to the metal in terms of getting my game done. I wanted to do a Pixelart stream, Pixelart stream this week. I try to do them weekly, and I figured, you know what, why not work on the game and do some pixel art. One of the things I always try to do is work on programming first, then art second. As you'll see in a moment, the previous sprites are being updated. So if I spent a lot of time on my initial pixel art sprites, then that kind of would be tossing that time I spent aside. So the goal of today is to make enough art to put it in the game, but not too much art that when I upgrade it again, as this won't be the final version, but make enough art to get the idea across, but not enough that you spend years, ages, eons on it, as the goal of the game is to be finished by the end of the year. So fingers crossed that happens. And since that's that and the timer is done, let's go ahead and swap over to... Oh no, where's it at? I always forget. Here we are. Let me open it up for here so I can see on my screen. Okay, wonderful. How what? Could you elaborate a little bit? It's like, since you're new, I know you probably don't know too much, but don't worry, I'll show you. I'll do my best to explain. Just ask what you need to know, but I'll try to go along as I go along the way. But on here, we have a stream. Hi, Escobar. Welcome to stream. So today's plans are shooting as followed. We'll do the pixel art of the day, we'll talk about some resources, and then we'll get into creating. I wasn't going to do a pixel art of the day, but I figured I like to also do it as a warm-up. So we'll do the pixel art of the day, and then we'll discuss plans, do all of those things. So it's pretty simple for today, but it's a lot of work getting done, a lot of making sure things are nice and settled with. Okay, so I'm saying all of that, let me move us to, where is it at? Concepts. And here we are, welcome to Concepts. And In Pixelart of the Day, it's a segment I like to do at the beginning of the stream where we spend 5 minutes looking at some pixel art made by a pixel artist either off of Twitter or Pinterest or somewhere else, and we spend 5 minutes trying to dissect the artwork, see what parts of it we can notice, what parts we might be able to use in the future for our own art, as the best way to learn art, and games for that matter, is to constantly get input. So constantly taking in art, trying to critique it, constantly taking in games, trying to critique it, things of that nature. Warm-ups are a good thing, yeah. So I figured, you know what, let's keep to the schedule. I do want to make sure we try to get a lot done, but warm-ups are nice, and I always find them to be fun. With all of that said, this is it looks like a sprite chain lady made by Anubis. Oh, did I say that right? Anubis Jr. There we go. Anubis Jr. And it is of this lady right here who is a sprite. So I always try to do something that relates to it. So if we do cars, then it'll be car. If we do birds or animals, it'll be an animal. In this case, since it's a character sprite, we're doing character sprite. With all of that said and done, let me zoom out a little bit and let me go ahead and pop on the timer. This little guy right here. Let me make sure the timer is at that 5 minutes. The chain is either very light or she's very strong. True. And I agree. It is nice pixel art. The question now is answering, why do you think it's nice? What aspects of it do you like? So I'll go ahead and put this timer a little bit down here. And that's a good idea. That's a good something to note, is that the weight feels a little off. I do agree. So let me go ahead and write up here. Oh, it'll let me. And that's a great way to start as well. The weighting, either the chain is light. Oops. I feel like this is a little bit too big. Chain, here we go. Chain and is light, or she's strong. P-R-O-N-J. And that is something to note. It doesn't really seem to carry a lot of weight to it, which is interesting. Let's see. It also helps a lot to design really quick prototypes, even paper ones, or write down rules, give to random friends, and watch them misunderstand what you wrote down. Yeah, it is fun. It's fun to always see if they can get it. Not enough drag on their chain, yeah. Something like how this is swinging. Oh, hold on. This is kind of over if it was more directly down, and this is kind of, it's in motion without actually seeming like she's actually in motion. That's why I think I guess, yeah, in a way, it was supposed to be things about what we like, but I think this lacks motion. It lacks a sense of weight. Lacks motion. I-O-N. Let me drag this over here so you can still see it. / sense of weight. W-E-I-G-H-T, I think. Let's see. That is a very short skirt. It is indeedy. If we zoom in a little bit, what else do we notice about the skirt? I'd say maybe the lighting. It seems that, and it seems to be the case. It's usually 3 colors that they use for clothing. You have this dark blue, you have this medium blue, and then you have this light blue. Oh, this time it's 4. There's 4 colors that they use overall for the art, or the clothing. And then there's kind of this outline color, so maybe 4 to 5. These Blastoise vibes and the oversized hat makes her look intimidating. You're getting an intimidating vibe, if I'm right. Okay, I'll put that on there. Intimidation. Intimidation. That's an interesting one. I'll say the clothing uses 5 colors. 5 color L-O-R skirt I-R-T. Put that there. All right, let's move this over here a little bit so we have more space. Less intimidating. The big hat. So what makes you think it's, I guess the next question is, what makes you think it's intimidating and what makes you think it's less intimidating? Oh, okay, that makes more sense. Intimidation? There's no intimidation. I see, okay. Hold on. There we go, I'll make it clear. A little bit too big there, hold on. No intimidation. There we go. that works. All right, let me slide it back over here. All right, let's see. There's a lot of details that make it feel weightless. Let's see. First, her center of gravity would be off the chain, and it ends would be have any weight. Okay. Let's see, the placement of her hand and strain on her arm is off. The feet are not placed in a way that supports. Her pose is generally not stable. Usually a body pose just uses biomechanics to hold things, like wrapping the chain around the arm. Also holding key things makes people lock their joints, which is easier at a certain angle. Yeah, I think the posing, for example, it seems more casual, like this is just a hand purse that she has, and maybe it's also another purse here instead of a big chain. It's either a very magically enchanted chain that makes it lack weight or something of the sort. I do agree, it feels off. And aside from the off feeling, what else? Let's see. I like her hair. I like the swirls. It kind of has this roundish feeling on her hair. Let me go ahead here. Kind of shows she has curly hair. And the lighting I also really like. There's a how to describe it? There's a lot of detail in the hair. For example, this you can tell is in darkness, this area here, compared to this area, which is more in light. I guess, how can I describe that? I think the lighting's good. At least on the head, the lighting's nice. Let's see. Her head is also very big compared to her body. That's a stylistic choice. I'd say it's a stylistic choice. Don't forget you have kind of characters that are chibi-ish, but I will note down body proportions. Body proportions. Body proportions. Is that the proportions? Yes, that's how you spell it. Let's try to do one more. Let's see. Yeah, I'll say I like the shading on the head. Head shading. Head / hair shading. Hair shading. SHADING. There we go. Alright. So let's see. What did I miss? Right. Do you think so too? Yeah, I see. Okay. Yeah, okay. So with arms, you either hold it at a 90 degree or a 170-ish degree to have a grip. Her back is pushed too far. It would be far straighter if she would support weight. Also, she would need to place most of her weight on her left foot, as the left chain is part longer to the ground. She leans to the left, even though the lower weight would make her counterbalance to the right. Her shoulders are even though you would lift the shoulders to support, unless you let your skeleton hold. The weight more than your muscles, yeah. The hat, head, proportions, eye expression, hairstyle make her look almost childish for you. That's interesting. I guess maybe because head proportions, usually more childish characters have a shorter head range. More adultish characters have an 8 head height. So this, for example, might be, let's see, looks like maybe 4, 1, 2-ish, 3-ish, maybe 4-ish, 4 to 5-ish, which is a lot smaller. So yeah, I agree. It does make her look youngish. Alright, so with all of that done, let me go ahead and hide that timer. Here we go. And then what we can do is, I did want to show this, as this came from out of a book that I always recommend called Pixelart. And it was just this portion of the book was going over ways to start your pixel art. So I thought this was an interesting way to do it. It kind of shows off the initial sketch, then the kind of coloring, and then the final. But I do agree, you can kind of see here, the initial pose wasn't done before adding the chain. And maybe that's why it kind of feels a little off. Or yeah, I think that's why. They start without the chain kind of in mind, and then as they move on to coloring the character, then they add the chain. It's a great book. It is. I 100% agree. So maybe had they started with the chain initially in mind, it might have turned out different as they kind of get to coloring before adding the chain. So I wondered, it makes me curious. Saying all of that though, let's briefly discuss resources. As well, this is a topic we covered before. I just thought I'd retouch up on it to those who might be new here and curious as where to go. So let me go ahead and go in here. Thought I had this up, I did not. The left arm on the sketch is interesting. Let's see. Left. Yeah, it looks like they thought about doing different poses. Maybe one with the arm up, maybe one, or did you mean this arm? Did you mean the left arm on her or the left arm in the pose? Kind of straight, and they decided on the straight one. They did think about different ideas, which is nice and interesting. All right, so let me go here. Give it a second to load. Let me open this a little bit better so I can have more vision to see. There we go. Dismiss that as well. Oh, that makes it easier. Okay. Let me go into here. It's a common blind spot though. You see that every day at work. When you work on animations, especially for attacks, it's a lot of iteration because it's hard to imagine it without seeing or doing the motion yourself. And not everyone has a 2H sword or chain with stuff to test. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky to figure out weight. And I think, especially with the animations I've seen, it's nice when the characters feel like they're lugging around a lot of weight and they're swinging chains. It adds more oomph and impact and kind of immerses you a little bit better than if the chain was lighter. With all of that said, let me go ahead and make sure this is the right screen. It is. Okay. So either in, as I transition, either in YouTube description or in, oh boy, I don't think I did add it, so let me go ahead and, well, we'll do it this way. Open this link. So I'm always trying to add in here new articles, new anything I can find. This is the book that I was talking about, this one right here, Pixelart. Before I do that, let me also send it in Twitch for those curious. The link, and Pixelart is a nice book. There is lots of chapters, lots of different things. I don't have it pulled up at the moment, but there is a free version of it, but the whole thing's $10. So if you look at the free version and you like it, I think it's a good investment. But there's articles here, there's pages, there's resources, there's references, there's all different things that you can look at if you're more of a visual person when it comes to reading. It lets you look at different articles I can find, and they tell you about different resources, things of that nature. I also have on here a playlist for how to draw pixel art characters, that videos I find that kind of show the process of drawing characters. So if you want to get started, you're not sure where to start, that's where I usually tend to point people at. Let's see. Yeah. Hi, Just Alice. I don't think I've seen that name before. Welcome to stream. Yeah, and it is also one of the things that's super hard to put into words. Yeah, because motion and feeling of weight and body mechanics are intuitive. Most people can immediately say, this looks wrong, but it's hard to verbalize the why it feels wrong. It's not concisely learned thing to perceive it. So you kind of have to learn the verbalizing part on top of it by just thinking really hard and talking to people. I agree. That's the thing of, and especially we're going to get into it as well when we do more animations for the game, as I do want to have feel and impact to the characters. And I say that, but what does that mean? And that's exactly what it means. It's hard to verbalize it. Down here is also a resource called the Sprite resource. It's a website where people can upload sprites, either their own or sprites from games. And specifically, I have links to pixel art games I found about pixel art games I've learned in the past. There's been the list has gotten longer since I've last recommended it. We have some games, for example, from Earthbound, and you can go in here and you can find a character. For example, maybe you want to learn how to draw a dog. You can click download this sheet here, and it will download the dog. And then you can drag it into a program you use for art. For example, I use Aseprite, so I can drag it into Aseprite, and then bam, I have the art one-to-one. Instead of what you saw when we were doing the pixel art of the day, in that sense where we kind of just had to zoom in. But I can show you really quickly, as it's nice and simple to show you. So I can just download the dog, go into Aseprite, drag and drop it in, and then look at this. I now have the dog, and it's a nice way to learn. It's not to nab and to use as your own stuff. This is assets from games. It's to use as a learning resource and a way to see, okay, how many sprites did they use? Not sprites. How many pixels did they use to make the dog? How big is the dog? I think a lot of issues with learning pixel art, especially with trying to find them online, and let me swap back over to here. I think one of the biggest issues is that a lot of people see artwork, for example, the one we looked at, but they're not sure how big the sprite is. For example, if I asked you, and let's just go back over here to concepts for a second. If I were to ask you, how big is this character? You wouldn't know. You wouldn't be able to tell, and a lot of art gets that size left out. And so then you're wondering, where do I start? How do I get to this? So it's nice to be able to download it and see for yourself how big things are. Then you can crop and cut and look at different art in that sense and get an idea for how things are sized, how things are moved. It's especially fun when you can find animations. So we'll go back into the private here. One of my favorite pixel art sprites that I've been using a lot recently to reference is from Pokemon Black and White, and you'll see it later and soon. There's also a few nice pixel art YouTube channels that have nice references and explain common problems and how to solve them. Yep, if you do have some excuse me, if you do have some to suggest, I'd love to add them to the playlist I have currently, as I do have some channels on here, but of course this is not all the channels, but I do have some that go over different parts of just character sprites themselves. And as we're saying about the characters, where are we at? So there's even Pokemon on here as well. Yeah, Pokemon. I'm looking for the trainers. I think they're all the way down here. Yeah. And you can just download the trainers, move them into the program, and see how big they are compared to other things. So it's always nice. And then lastly, aside from Sprite Resource, we have, if I scroll down here, itch.io. If you're a game designer or game developer, you've probably heard of this website before. It is, if it'll let me click it, it's a website you can go to either upload your games or find game assets. In this case, this is for Pixelart. Some of them are priced and some of them are free. I have on here all free ones you can look at. For example, if we go to this one from Louis Zuno, it's Dancing Girl. And you can download these animations and play them in your programs to see how the animations happen and how the animations were made. See how many frames it took to make the animations, things of that sort, to get a better understanding so you can apply it to your own work. And I just find that really cool how there's all of this free stuff that you can do on your own. So with all of that said and all of that done and dusted, we can go back to the next thing to talk about what is on the agenda. Well, we did talk about what's on the agenda, but the main focus. Let's go back to here. Let me go ahead and close this and this. Let me go ahead and also close this as well. Let me drink some coffee and then we will get started. Okay, we're all good to go. So in Aseprite, as I have kind of things pulled up already, let me go ahead and move. Let's get a nicer, comfier seating position, as it's certainly gonna be a second. But on here we have and I also have on here some Deltarune. Now these are all sprites I've done in the past. We have all of these guys up here. Let me go ahead and I hide all of these to kind of show a little bit more. Makes it a little bit easier. All of this on here currently on screen is sprites I've previously done. I started with these two guys, moved my way up to this one, and just over these past few weeks I've been trying to get better at overall Pixelart, and I've been using the resources. Yeah, Pickle Yama. I made her in the design of River City Girls, which is a beat-em-up Pixelart game, which is it's always fun. And send the two channels, you know, of DM and Discord. Yeah, that works. That works perfectly fine. Yep. That's the best place to do them at. I appreciate it highly. Okay, so in saying all of that, the initial character sprite I have for my game is this one right here. This is Gabriella. She is a necromancer, and my game is a cafe sim. It's a cafe sim. It's a restaurant sim game where you create food and you serve it to customers. It's as simple as it gets. It is magic, and you have to spell cast to make the food, but the overall idea is that we need wizards and magical users to have as customers, as this takes place in a university of magic, a very old university. So the idea is that these wizards have these, how do I best describe it? These wizards have these uniforms, these big robes that are colored depending on their class, their wizard choice in the matter. For example, pyromancers might be orange, cryomancers, ice users might be blue. And since she's a necromancer, I decided to make her color purple. And this is the sprite of the game. But recently, this Monday, I updated her sprite. So now her sprite is, if we go back here, this is now her updated sprite. And, oh, I also just realized this is on screen. Let's see, River City Girls, so cute, thank you. River City Girls 1 and 2 are such nice games, and the soundtrack is also a banger. Yeah, I'd love to play it sometime, but from what I've seen, it looks fun. It looks fun and like a very silly game, and the fact that it also has a dab attack surprised me a lot. So this is the new sprite size and version that I have of this character, and let me go ahead and hide it. You can kind of see the size difference. If I go ahead and I'll just save this as redesign. This will be for customer, and we'll go ahead and do this. And then I'll go ahead and where are we at? There we go. Okay, idle. This idle has to get merged down. I can go ahead and flatten this. And then we have my art. I'll go ahead and move. If I grab her, move her over here. You can kind of see it went from being the size of, and let me make sure I get that size right. It went from being the size of 32 by 48, I believe, into being, oh, 48 by 64. So it's gotten a little bigger. Let's see. Oh, you should. It's super fun. Yeah, I do plan to. The only question is, will I play it on stream or will I just play it privately? I'm not too sure in the matter. I definitely want to stream myself playing a lot of Pixelart games, as I definitely think there's not enough of those being played on stream or just anywhere, really. So the idea is that we're going to take this basic sprite that I have recently made and we're going to make it into the customer. And a stream ago, if I can find it, these are the current customers that we have, the default customers. They don't have any different things about them. They don't have any hair or any cool methods. This is just the base default. As once we make the default, then we can add all the cool stuff on afterwards. And let's see, the green thing to the side, is her hair correct? Like curls and swirls? Yep. Curls and swirls, that's the idea I was going of, but I definitely think I might go back and redo it. I think it's a lot better than what it once was, but I think the hat and the hair need a little bit more oomph to them to make them a little bit, oh, how did that, oh, I see. A little bit more oomph to them. So in saying that, we have, if I can figure out where we're at, the customers, they have the front, back, and side, and they have a walking animation. And if we go back to the full screen, you can see on here, the goal is to do a walk, sit, idle, and eat animation. But I'm not sure if we'll get to all of that, so we'll try to do the walk and sit animation at least. And that is the goal. As they'll walk to the place they need to go, they might idle when they're waiting in line, they'll sit when they're sitting at the table, and then they'll eat their food and leave. That's the 4 animations we need to pay attention to, and then we can kind of add extra. For example, maybe if they're getting bored, then they have the yawning animation, or maybe some extra other I don't remember what word I was gonna say, but maybe some extra other stuff we can add on there, some flavor stuff. But for right now, we just need the basics to get the idea across. So in saying all of that, we can start off by taking this gal right here and turning her into a default template. So I'll go ahead and copy her. Make a new layer and paste her, and we'll go ahead, This might get a little bit tricky very quickly, but I'll go ahead and, where are we at? This is the background. And I'm not sure where these white dots are coming from. I see. I don't know who you are, I don't know where you came from, but we are not needed. And if we go ahead and go here, this is currently the finalized front that I have. This is a side idea that I had, but we can always change this. This is just the current idea. So I'll go ahead and grab the hair that we have and just delete it as we don't need it. I'll drag and drop this one here. These are kind of just doodles I was working on to, oh, hold on. Hi, why aren't you moved? Hold on. If I go ahead and flatten you, do I have to move you above? Is that why you're, I see. We move this over here. You can kind of see the silly hat and the ideas that I had. And then we have the back view. I'll go ahead and also take care of her hair. Doesn't need the hair. And then we can go ahead and, oh, back hat. Actually, okay, let's undo that a little bit. What instead I want to do is do, instead, side face, hat side. Let's keep all of that and just move that over, since I think having the hat will be a good idea. And then we have the back. We'll get rid of the hair. And this is her side animation, or not her side, her back. And then we'll go ahead and move all of these guys up here. The idea is that we won't need her front anymore. And I think I did flatten the front. These are previous designs I've done, but we don't need those. So I'll go ahead and get rid of those as well. We also don't need this and this, but we will need to get back our front so I can take off the other portions. And I can also get rid of this, and that should be good to go. We have the final, which is the back front. Let me go ahead and move you up. Oh, here's the front. Wonderful. Then we don't need the hair. We can get rid of the hair. And what is this as well? Another hair. All right, then. Hair be gone. Okay, so the idea now is to, oh, thank you for letting me know. I didn't see it. Oh man, thanks a lot. I did. Yup. I see. Oh boy. Yep, you were stuck indeed. Let me get rid of these guys here. This is just starting from the defaults that I have, and we can kind of modify them. The focus is trying to figure out the 4 animations. We'll see what we can do there. Oh boy. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get rid of the hats that we have here and work off of that portion and making these Where are they at? The wizard compiled. These guys. These guys are going to get put onto here. So she's going to become a default character for our wizards. So they kind of have the same proportion. Add the animations and everything. So we can go ahead and grab these guys. We'll go ahead and grab... Do we need anything else from you? Let's see, this is the front face. Did you switch scenes? Oh, okay. I did read that. What will be the screen size in real game? I'm not quite too sure yet. I'm basing things off of the first initial character and then kind of working off of that. Something I realized, and I can quickly show you as it wouldn't take long to look up. Where are we at? I go into... We say it won't be quick. And then it's quick. Game size, screens. Here we go. I do this and go into where are we at? Oh, never mind. Quickness, I say, is not as quick as I thought, but it should be screens view. Okay. Yeah, not as quick as I thought, but the screen size itself is, how to describe it? I'm looking for the sprite sheet itself, as I do have it here, but my organization's not too nice. Let's see if I can find it really quickly, but if I can't, that is a-okay. Oh, I think I remember where I put it at. Here, and then in here. This is the screen size currently. This is what's on screen, but this is going to get a complete redesign as if we go ahead and grab, if I can find her. Nope, she's not even on here anymore. That's okay. I'm pretty sure I have her here. This is currently the character size, but if you go ahead and check the front character here, I'll just grab this, the messy finished one we can kind of see here. This wouldn't fit anymore. It's a little bit bigger, right? Who needs organization anyways? It's organized, I just forget. Which is terrible. At what point, what's the point of organization? These crates are meant to be seats, but it's kind of not seats anymore. You can kind of see the wizard sitting down. So the idea is that the size will depend on how big the characters will be. So since this will be the new character size, we'll then base the cafe around. As when adding and programming the seats and all the customers into the game, I realized this is too many customers, so the whole cafe is going to have to get a new redesign. Right now, this currently houses 22 seats, and 22 seats is a lot for the UI. So I'm thinking the cafe should instead house 10 or less of customers. Let's see. So you're organizing stuff and you forget how you organize it? Yeah. And I'm taking decisions related to the character. Yeah. It's meant to be, I want the characters to be the most important part of it, the characters and the food. And if we go back over here, I'm not sure if I still have it. So lovely, thank you. And hi Chokies. Is that how you say that? Welcome to stream. I'm pretty sure I can show you super quickly as well as this character sprites. The new updated one was based on if I can open it and get to it. This new character design is based on her holding a food tray. If I go ahead and hide the idol, it is, well, there we go. It is the attempt at her holding a food tray. That was the idea. So you can kind of see I based it off of the food. How big does the food need to be? So I figured out the size of the food, the size of the tray that she needs to hold, and then I based the character around that. And now, once I have the character based around that, then I can figure out how big the cafe needs to be for the characters to sit at, for them to go over, as if the seats are too small for the characters, and I did the seats first. As I was thinking, should the seats come first or should the characters come first? But we can draft up the seats and put the characters on them, and then finish up the seats. So I think right now, characters, and then make the world fit the characters instead of the characters fitting the world. But I made them start with fitting the food so she can hold the food in the tray. With all that said, let's go ahead and we'll keep this here in case I need it again. The idea right now is to just make a template. These little guys are currently the customers. So I'll go ahead and I guess it'd be best to compile these guys. Let's see, this is side hat. This is front hat. This is back hat, and we can all put all of those hats together like this. And then we have Gabby herself, which is the main character, Gabriella. And she has her front, back, and side. And those are all in their own. And this is side face. This is interesting. Now I'll make this also go with her side, as these were more so sketches. So I'll go ahead and mark that down. All right, so this is currently what we have. Now we just have to kind of modify it and go from there. So let's see. Okay, I did read that. With that said, let's start on the front. We just want the head. And I always try to go by the sizes of other things. For example, this here at the bottom is where the rope finishes off. This is where the bottom of this finishes off. Trying to keep everything measured in the same. If it does wrap around, it kind of goes down. But just trying to keep to an initial sizing. So with that kind of said, let's try to spruce up the back or front of her head by making this size an orb. And let's see. So this would be the back of her head just about, maybe a little bit bigger. We can kind of erase the face and tweak it a little bit. You need some advice from you wise internet people. Which game is better for a chill weekend? Amori or Cry of the Necrodancer? I've heard neither. I've heard Amori, but I've heard Amori's not very chill. I'm not too sure. Let me grab the back of her head here to kind of do here. I've done Crypt of the Necromancer, the disco one. That kind of inspired my game in a way. The dancing and the dancing and the rhythm part, the rhythm aspect. And let me grab her back again. Paste it here. And it kind of just pasted everything, but that's okay. We'll just grab this and paste it over her front, the back of her front, to kind of figure out where her head goes. And then we can kind of we can grab everything really. Merge this down. Then, ooh, this is back. Hold on. It needs to merge down here, as this is Gabby front. There we go. And we'll go ahead and get rid of her back. I'll move these guys here. And this is still here. Okay, we're good. I'm just gonna get rid of her hair and everything, else that's not what her character is. This is the template character. This is supposed to be the default character, and then we can kind of make different characters based on this design. This is how characters are in the world are viewed. So I'm just going in and I'm fixing things up and trying to make it nice. The really difficult part is going to be the animation, and that's what's going to be really tricky. You don't really need a lot in showing off how the characters are, the characters look. Right now, it's just to get the basic idea as, again, this, as you can see beforehand, how these guys weren't the final design, so I didn't put a lot of effort into them, as well as these guys won't be the final design, so I need to just show off what they should be. It's funny, you were just writing some notes about how to make the look of the world. Ah, I always like writing notes. And yeah, figuring out the look of the world, the way that people dress, the colors, things of that nature, because it's still in the early development aspect of the game. I can kind of figure out new things and see where it takes me. I don't have to be held to something. If I keep it loose and I keep it not very detailed, that means I can go back and change things without worrying about spending too much time on it. That's what I do like about the beginning aspects of a game, is the experiment and trial phase. So I'll go ahead and grab these little guys. I'll place them here so I can have a vision of their colors and everything. So this is this is the shading, this is the lighter aspects of them. They look a little scary, don't they? So let's see. Does he need a mid-tone now? He didn't need a mid-tone before. Well, let's go ahead. I'll take this color and I'll combine those two to make this color. We'll go ahead and do that. And then we can kind of add the rest of the head. And other characters don't have her sad eyes. That's the defining factor of this character, is her sad face. So she gets that to herself. These characters don't get that. They just get the really simple eyes that they had here. Very, apparently demon-looking eyes, but not so much anymore. They look a little bit better, don't they? And we'll go ahead and add this for the head. And then we'll kind of just go in and modify a few more parts of it to kind of upgrade it. And we need to change the default animation here. And I'm also noticing as well, this head is also off a little bit, isn't it? Let's see. Oops. Do that. And then this has to go here. How did you do this? Like here. There we go. That's how the ears were. They're not elves, but I figured why not give them fancy wizard ears? That sounds fun. So we can go ahead and then, let's see, this is the darkest color here. We can then go ahead and maybe take that medium tone for this guy here. Ah, I see, that's the light tone. So we take the medium tone, and then we kind of go a little bit lighter. So you might choose, might choose this tone. Oh, like that. And it kind of updates it to being similar semi to what this is, and then we can kind of update this a little bit more. For example, what we can do then, let's see. Well, we have to work on the hands, but for the feet themselves, we can kind of make the feet just not heels by just adding 1 pixel. I always find that the neatest part about pixel art. Just remove a pixel, it's something new. Add a pixel, it's something new. Let me get some more coffee. Okay. And then from there, let's see. You just want to make them big blocky feet. They kind of look like high platform boots. I want to keep to just similar portions or aspects. Maybe some of the more high classes. This is a very high class school they're going to, a university. So that means that, you know, they're held to a higher standard. It's also a very old school. So a lot of traditions and a lot of just ladies wear dresses, men wear ties, things of that nature is how this school operates. There's different things you can add to just change the different aspects of the character. So I'm excited for that part. We can go ahead and get rid of this here, as this is just her. This is her being nervous, and these characters aren't nervous. Well, some might be, but this character herself is not nervous, so we can get rid of this as well. And then you can kind of continue in figuring out, okay, so arms and hands. They also might wear gloves, depending on the character themselves. Now, let's see. Maybe their hands can kind of come up their side here. Maybe they can kind of have hands here. It's sort of a neat feature. I'm just thinking hand-wise. We can kind of make a new layer to figure out the hands. Her hands are, they kind of come here and they kind of come down. So maybe hands might be here-ish. I know I had trouble figuring out hands, so I just decided on making her hands full to the front. But that also means that there's this one, hold on, let's see. There's one odd professor who doesn't care about the dress code, has a chaos of hair of doom drowning in the research. You know, that sounds like a fun idea. Maybe it's a storm wizard. That sounds like fun, like a storm or lightning wizard we can have, where the thing is, every wizard has a flavor profile. For example, necromancers are bitter, and what did we call them? Healing wizards. I don't remember the name. Medimancers, I think we called them. Healing wizards have sweet profile. Cryomancers, your ice wizards, have ice, so it's minty. And your pyromancers, your fire wizards, have the flavor of spicy. So what would a storm wizard have the flavor profile of? What would it be? I feel like they'd have that candy flavor of crackling, the crackling flavor. I can't remember it. But the snap, crackle, pop type of cereal, I feel is like what they would do. And right now I'm just trying to figure out their arms. And that does not look right in the slightest, does it? Might need to move it down a little bit, I'm thinking maybe. This is tricky. I feel like this is going to be a very tricky feeling of getting the hands right. Getting the hands right, getting the arms right. Making it look like it actually works in the character aspect. Let's see. We also need to merge this down a little bit. Merge down, let's see. So all healers have a sweet tooth, wild, but you can guess they are fine. They just heal away from their cavities. Not all of them have a sweet tooth, but that's the, what is it? Like the magic. If you, the idea of the game is as the game goes on, you get research notes from different students who are of different parts of the academy, so different classes. And she takes that research and she boils it down to figuring out the essence. So the essence of magic in terms of necromancers is bitter. It's kind of like the flavor. So it might not be their favorite flavor, but it's the flavor that they've kind of learned to adjust to. I'm just thinking though, Storm Wizard, how would that look? This hand is especially tricky. Does the hand, will the hand kind of go front, kind of folding? Would you put the hands to the side? Because I'm thinking, I would assume the more, oh, oops, also let me also grab you, uncontinuous, grab you, undo. Undo, undo, undo. Oh, I'll grab you as well. Delete you, new layer, paste you, there we go. I feel like, and we can also grab this as well from the characters. And, oh, okay. So this is old wizard. This is now our front wizard. This is the hands. Hands. And this layer can be our arms. This is the thing. It's like, trying to think of how to explain it. It's like she's discovered a new type of magic. So she's doing what she can with the new magic, figuring out new flavors, as this is a cooking magic. As she can't actually cook. She just uses magic to cook. And she uses the magic that started off of necromancy to figure out how to actually cook. She's tried her best, but her best isn't good enough, unfortunately. So let's see. I'm trying to think, what it looks like without the hands. It might come up like this as a better example. This is supposed to be just a default, so it's both masculine and feminine. I added the push to the center for more feminine, but this isn't a dress, it's a robe. The yellow really blinds the eye, do you think? Is the yellow too bright? I just figured that yellow was kind of a nice pop. That's interesting. That's the yellow I've been using, is kind of like the crust, or the crust, the outline. But I could always change the yellow, especially if it's a little bit too bright. What kind of yellow would you suggest? It's supposed to be gold. There's not too many colors I can do with gold, but I'm always open to suggestions. Yeah, this is the yellow I've been using, but if you think it's a little bit too bright or blinds, we can kind of go in here into the color mode and see. It's not the highest value, surprisingly. It's the white's the highest. So it kind of blends in if at least you do it from black and white. It was interesting, it feels blinding. Maybe it's the dark blue that makes it really pop. Blue and orange are very contrasting colors. I think they're complementing colors. So because this is yellowish orange, maybe that's why. Does it feel like it's blinding when it's on purple compared to when it's on blue? Oops. When it's on blue, that might be the reason why it feels a little bit more blinding, because it's against blue instead of against purple. So let me go ahead and try this out for this character. Yeah, this is tricky. Feels a little tricky. Yeah, you write the post, that in the post on Discord. I see, interesting. I will 100% check that out. I'm thinking for now, that's a little bit too thin. Maybe something like that can be a little bit more helpful. But yeah, I will certainly look into that. I tried to take notes, but I haven't gotten to the overall final designs. So I'm just trying to figure that out. But I do appreciate the feedback, as that is super handy. I'm trying to figure out the overall curve of the robe, the kind of, as you can kind of see when I pull back, but I think this is a little bit too thin. if I have to say, it's a little bit too thin in here. I'm kind of trying to see, and you can see the curves don't really look right. I can kind of maybe move this one down a little bit and just adjust the curves so they feel like they fit. It's that overall step that kind of feels funny. We have the 4 step, then 3, then 2, then 2, then 3, and that kind of feels a little bit off. So maybe, for example, I might make this 3. This might also be 3. So it's 3, 3, 3. And it kind of looks a little bit better, doesn't it? Let me go ahead and also, before I do that, just show a side-by-side comparison. I think that would help pitch the point I'm trying to say. So I'll get rid of her back. Where are we at? This is back stuff, or her hat stuff. And this is Gabby back. So I'll go ahead and paste this and move this over here. To kind of just show the comparison between the two. There we go. Okay. Also, did you post it in the what is it? The Necrotype part of the Discord? I might have. I'll have to double check. As yeah, this is a work in progress, but I do appreciate the feedback, as it does help me. Okay. So now that we have them kind of side by side to show a little bit more of what I mean, I'll add this here and this here to make it 3, 3 instead. And then now we have 3, 3, 3, and now it's 2, 3, 4. Then maybe what we can do is make that 2 into a 3. So now it's 3, 3, 3, 3. Add another 3 here, and now it's 3 all the way up. And doesn't that look smoother? If I zoom out here, you can kind of see, or maybe it's a little bit too unzoomed. But if I zoom out here, the overall smoothing kind of feels different. It's definitely a lot smoother. This one's kind of more floof, right? You said that I should put it in a vlogged part. I see. We can double check afterwards. So yeah, the organization's a little messy. It's like it says a devlog. I see. Okay. I'll definitely double check that. That is definitely something I take into consideration. The colors and aspect of everything. I want it to be visible, especially, for example, something like, what is it? Color blindness. Making sure the colors are popping out in that aspect as well. So if the yellow feels too bright, I was going to say, but bright, that is something I want to make sure I get rid of. Make sure I get ahead of. And saying all of that, I think this is overall feeling better compared to this. It's very floof. This one's more floof, I'd say. For example, if we want to make it more floof now, we can kind of make it rounder here and adjust it that way, and now it's kind of has a more floofy feeling, doesn't it? Like pants. But for now, I think this is a lot more even compared to this one. So we can go ahead and, where are we at? I see. In that case, you go now. And we're back to this. Now our hands, I say her hands. I always think of it as Gabby. That's why I say her. We can go ahead and grab this color. Yeah, this works as arms. But maybe if it was a female, maybe their pose is like, or their posture at least, is like this. Something that's folded in front. She's kind of has her fingers pushed together, but maybe this is more so a walking pose. You know what it kind of reminds me of? I think I do have her on hold, but I think I'm thinking of Toriel from Undertale. The character is Undertale. Let's see if I do have it on hand. If not, I can always just go to Sprite Resource and nab it from there. That is always a nice and easy thing to do. Sprite Resource, Toriel. Let's see. That's the pose I'm getting from. The pose I'm thinking of when I see this. Man got erased, deleted, evaporated. He's just gone. But hi, liar. Is that how you say it? Liar? Welcome. Yeah, this is the pose. I did this I didn't even think about it, but this is the pose I made. Just this hands folded. It's a very proper pose, I think. And that's why maybe I thought of it as this is the character is a very proper person. So maybe that's why they have the proper pose. Let's see. A question that bugs you. It's cooking with magic approved by the FDA of her world region because an illegal on that many layers business school basement is too bad for the cast. Too bad buns. It's never been done before. They've always cooked with magic, as in making flour mixed together and all of the things, but a process of magical cooking has never been done before. She's made it up on her own. So she might be in some legal troubles come down the line. But this is a new magic she's making with the help of getting these notes that she's getting from other students. It's her own magic, but cooking, like, for example, levitating things together as a sort of magic to kind of automate things has never been done before. With that pose, you always think of clergy. Because nuns and priests are often depicted in that pose. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It also could just be because of the way the hands are. I'm just trying to think pose-wise, because I don't want to spend too long on it. We do need to figure out the back and the side, and then we need the animations. But how can we do that if we can't even get to the basics? But I do see what you're saying, yeah. As these, again, all of these children come from very high families. This school is equatable to something like Harvard. This is a Harvard School of Magic. So a lot of people come from very rich backgrounds, all of those things in the sense that they don't really, money's not an issue for them. So knowledge is how they pay each other. And since learning magic from other classes is forbidden, Gabby decides, you know what? Who cares if it's forbidden? I want to do it. So she has the students pay her in book pages instead of money. Since for most of these kids, money's not really a thing you want to be paid for. Is you have money, you're already rich. Who needs anything else? Maybe something like this is good? What do you think? I'm not too opposed to it. Oops. It looks like hands, kind of, sort of, right? You expect the hands the height of the belly button or slightly above that. So if they're interlocking the pinky or ring finger would be on top of the belly button. I'd say the belly button's probably here-ish. There might be the belly button. Maybe a little bit more up. But the belly button I'd say is around this range. This is where I consider the elbow. You can kind of see your elbow's bent. And your elbow stops at your belly button. That's, yeah, about here is the belly button, I'd say. Just in terms of anatomy. If that was the case, let's see. The hand's the height of the belly button. That is what I have here as well. Her hands are the height of the belly button. It's interesting. I did that without thinking about it. But I'm thinking the arms kind of go back, maybe, and then the hands are kind of there. Hands on the side is fine too. Just more work for walk animation. More work, yes, but would it be more expressive and fun? As one of the things I want to do is maybe if the characters are serious, maybe they have a different walk. If the characters, so MC villagers were fancy all along. Exactly. Minecraft villagers, yeah, they've got the I can see it. You know, they have a little bit fancy. They have emeralds. Nothing against their noses. It's just they're very prim and proper. Exactly, 100%. That's how it always was. You just didn't see it before. They were proper. Okay, so in saying all of that, I'm thinking maybe this is a good pose. I'm keeping it one color as it doesn't need to be multiple colors. If anything, maybe we could make this the inside color could be darker, but I always kind of think it looks a little funny. So the stern walk. Don't use characters often that hands behind their back. I like the stern walk where the hands are behind their back when they're walking. That sounds like a fun idea. It's better to look at them like blobs of weight than actual anatomy. Yep, because it's pixel art, it doesn't have to be too specific. As this is blobs, it's not really colored. And I'm thinking I'll just keep it blobs like this instead of trying to add color. As from afar, especially if the game size is this big, you don't really need to worry about that. If anything, it should maybe be shaded because it's in, oh, if it'll let me shade it here. There we go. Might be like that because it's darker in the darkness. Something along the lines I think is better than trying to shade the hands. It doesn't need to be much, right? Especially if we go back to looking at Undertale stuff. It already doesn't have shading in it, but I always try to take a look at games and sprites from other games, and other sprites from games. Sprites from other games to remind myself that it doesn't have to be high detailed. This is Undertale, not Undertale, Deltarune, for example, and look at the hands here. This definitely has, oh no, it doesn't have shading. There's shading here, but again, the hands aren't shaded, which is always interesting to see. Just, there's shading sometimes, not shading other times. But then again, if you look at Pokemon sprites, for example, because they're also bigger, they have more space, and especially because they're posing more, you have the hands that are shaded, they have color and everything. And I wanted to make sprites that are smaller than this, but to the same character idea of just detail. And you can kind of see, especially when you're zooming from far away, it looks put together, then you kind of zoom in, and it's the anti-aliasing that I think makes it hard to kind of try to figure out what's going on, as it's supposed to be looked at from far away, this sort of distance. But because it's supposed to be looked at that distance, it gets away with being able to mend colors together. That's as best as I can describe it. So for example, this distance I think is fine. This distance is fine. I think this is good. It doesn't need to be too detailed. And I think this sets the right amount of detail for the character, where it's enough to get the idea across, and I think that's enough. Where their hands are walking by their side, and depending on maybe the type of characters, we can have some characters hands forward, hands backwards, skipping. I would like to have characters that skip, but that's completely different, and that's adding on to the game more than I need to. Right now, it's just about bare default necessities. I really don't even need to have the character sprites, but I like having some art with my game as I'm working on the game. Kind of gives me a boost of motivation. This way I do these, it's a fun way to add on to what's going on. So we'll go ahead and have this, oops, merge down, like that. And I think, maybe this should be two different colors. For example, maybe instead this should be, let me go ahead and make this color for just a second so I can see a little bit better. Maybe it should be this color to separate these two. And then have this be the dark color. Oops. Never mind then, I guess I'll do it this way. Oh, I know why. Continuous. Something like that. A way to separate the two arms, as I think right now they're a little bit too meshed. Because there's no real separator between the two. I'm just trying to think, okay, how do I show that they're different? Maybe I can do this instead. Maybe something a little bit darker than this. I can take maybe this dark color I have at the moment, make it a little bit darker, scooch it over a little bit. You don't think that Undertale is a good pixel art example, at least regarding how things look when you're not fighting? Interesting. Why would you say that? The designs are cool though. I'm curious, why would you say that you don't think it's a good example? I can understand why, maybe in the sense that it's not standard, perhaps. Is that why? I do like in how simple it is. I think this is as loose as you can get. Let me see, as I do have some examples pulled up, but I can always pull up more. Because I think that is something to factor. It is, what type of pixel art do you want to go for? I always try to have pixel art up for designs and characters and inspiration I take from. For example, here we have Stardew Valley. Would you say this is a good reference to take from? This one is characters that are 32 by 16. Oh yeah, 32 by 16. This is how they design. You haven't taken a look? It's ugly, but it has a charm. I like it. I like how, I like it. You can get very wacky with it, and I think because it's as simple as it is. But it is of note that Toby Fox, the creator of Undertale, isn't a pixel artist. He's more of a, I think he's a composer first, before anything else. But it's the thing of, if you want to make a game, you don't have to have all the skills. If you're looking for beautiful pixel art, Undertale's definitely not somewhere you should take inspiration from. But it's definitely in a sense of, you don't have to have the best art to have a really good game. Undertale's really good, Deltarune is really good at that. Undertale is a bit less, but still has some charm. Yeah, Undertale was his first game, and he kind of upgraded his pixel art level when he made Deltarune. And hi, Lamoille, welcome back. On saying all that, yeah, I do agree, Undertale. It's not the prettiest game, but it's silly and it's charming, and I think that it's that. Charm. I want to make a very charming game. So my focus is not on making the best, most beautiful, most brightest pixel art. It's making something that's expressive and silly and that you can laugh at. That's my goal. Because it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be funny. And how do you make things funny? Exaggeration. Exaggeration's also always really fun. Alright, so I think this is a good front face. Now let's work on making her side, or say her side. I always just think of it as her. This is just a default. This is really their size, but it doesn't really matter too much. So I'll go ahead and move where are we at? Old wizard. You can kind of get moved up. And then we can kind of go back to our wizard compile, take a look at their side. Now the question is, hat? Hat's gonna be tricky. I already struggled with the hat here, but we'll see. We'll see. I at least want to get down one sprite for each position. So for example, if we go back here, I want to have a sprite for walking, sitting, idle, and eating. It doesn't need to be animated. So the base is to get just the sprite, so I can tell when they're eating and different things. And then we can go back and add the animation aspect, as the more animations you add, the more sprites you need. And if I go back into here, for example, it's four things I need to do. This could just be the walking animation, the single sprite. But if I want them to move, that's 4 sprites. And then if I want everything else, it's 16. Let's see, 4 would be 4 squared, right? So that's, 4 squared is 64, I think. If I remember my math. I often don't. But I think 4 squared is 16, possibly. Let's go back to our side. Get rid of you. Just overall get the head shape in. Let's see. Down. Just need something like that. Pull you in. Question is then, we just gotta take from all of these parts. For example, this is the top of the head. So this needs to be the top of the head. We go in and make the top of the head big. Slide it over. Undo you. Go back in here. I'm just dragging and dropping. We might have to update these guys a bit. But this is about the top of the head-ish, it seems. And very bald, it seems, as well. It's so weird to look at sprites that aren't finished. But I always think of like a Megamind. But if you've seen it, you probably maybe haven't. But anime characters, especially anime girls, the really cutesy ones without hair, especially the skulls, they look so creepy. With just nothing but those things on there. I'm trying to keep in mind the size of everything, as I'm not sure if we're gonna have characters take off their hats, but I would like to have stuff underneath just in case. I think this is the size height. Yeah. Oh, nope, never mind. It is this height, and I'm wondering, front, do you need to have that top part of the head? Yeah, you kinda do. If you just a smidge, maybe. Maybe I can do this instead. If we do this, and this, and this. I think that works a little bit better. And then we can kind of do this. The Gavi sprite I currently have, the updated one, it's not finished. It's just an idea of what it might be. An idea for the sizing. It's definitely not cleaned up, but it's a hopeful wish in the future for what it could look like. So then we can kind of take that. We can take the head part, the shaded aspect, maybe kind of do that. And then we can, oops. Oh, hold on. Is the side, oh, I see. Which layer is this? Merge down. There we go. Gabby, side. There we go. And then we can kind of have this as that. It does really look creepy, doesn't it? Add this here, add these dots here. This is the eyes. And then for here, let's just add this for now. Add this here. Again, her head or her eyes aren't too similar, but I'm getting reminded of a clown. It looks a little creepy. Just a smidge. Maybe something like that can kind of help. It's creepy. I'm getting creepy vibes, and I don't like it. What is it? Right, maybe I'm thinking of like thing 1, thing 2 is the feeling I'm getting. Let me get some coffee. Yeah, that's the feeling. Their noses is what's giving me that feeling. The nose needs to really be more like this. Like always trying to, well, I want to do, as I get better at pixel art, I want to have a very anime-esque feel to it, and anime heads usually tend to have this kind of snot-like look to them. A lot of people compare anime to cats. They say the anime characters are more cat-like, and I think that's where this snout kind of look comes from. We'll take the hands, we have to update that as well. Right now I'm just overall trying to figure out feels of everything. We might make this a little bit less rounded, like that, to add a hairline, make things a little bit easier to tell what's going on at the very least. Something like that, I think, kind of helped. Oh, okay, we're good to go. It seems like it's up in the air sometimes on whether OBS wants to act right or not. We're all good to go now? Everything's nice and easy? It's working again, hopefully? Let's see. And let me double check. Are we good in YouTube? YouTube's good, it seems. Are we back? Okay. I think we're back. YouTube, I think's back. Twitch is offline. Let me refresh. Okay. It's saying everything's back, I think. It's not because Japanese people have very tiny eyes. Not in anime! Anime! I mean, in regular life too. I think their eyes are very large and expressive. That's what I've always liked. I think we're back though. But I always like the eyes and expressions. Currently at the moment I'm trying to learn Japanese. I just like the language. I like the language, I like the feel. It's always been some of my favorite stuff. I'll get rid of the hat, I'll get rid of the side here. I'm trying to see where her ears lie, and it seems to be just that portion there is where her ears are. So let me copy and paste her ears. Her side face, I'll grab this portion. And then we can go back into here. And do this. There. Oh, wait, I can't find her ears. Hold on. It's from her hair. There we go. Ohio. Exactly, Ohio gozaimasu. That one means good morning. Right now, I think it'd be, can't test me. I believe it'd be konnichiwa, as it is midday. Once afternoon comes, it'd be konbanwa. And then once evening-ish, well, that is evening-ish. And then night is Ohayo gozaimasu, which just means good night. Let's see. Side. This is the test one. Oh, I see. Let me slide you down. But where are you? Ooh, I see. I see your tricks and I don't like them. We don't need any of that. Okay. We just need this. We just need the singular ear portion. Like this. Grab you, grab you. Okay. So the side hair lands about here for our ear. And that's all I needed to know. So go ahead and delete you. I'll go ahead and delete you. Hold on. Like this. And this is where the ear goes. Let's make the ear a different color. Maybe something like this. To show off that it is, hey look, an ear. Something like that. We have the back of the hair and then an ear. And then we can go ahead and merge down. That's the side of the head. Something like that. And maybe, for example, male versus female. One might have eyelashes, one might not. But now let's just get rid of the eyelash and save it for the really eyelashy people. So, oh, hold on. Merge down. I said merge down. There we go. Something like that. Maybe to the extent of, for example, once we do different eyes, maybe some characters have smaller eyes like that, which might make them more mature. I know female eyes are bigger, masculine eyes are smaller, but then there's some characters that might have glasses, so we might want to change the faces depending on that. Alright, when all of that said, we can kind of now try to edit and figure out whatever this is. It's a sketch, an attempted sketch I made at trying to figure out the character. You can kind of see I have this sketch in a 3/4 view. If we look at, where are we at? All of these openings I have here. 3/4. Some character sprites I have up here is, this one's from Chrono Trigger. This is more of a 3/4 view. This one's from, Mori. And I don't think I have 3/4 on here. I think I just have the front view. This character from Stardew Valley, also 3/4. So that's why I tried to go for the 3/4 feel instead. We have here from Octopath Traveler, also 3/4. here for, oh, we don't have side profiles, just front profiles that I have for filtering. I'm trying to think, or I'm trying to, as best as I can, figure out the way I want the characters to pose. Seems to be most of them are 3/4, so that's why I decided on 3/4. What I did beforehand was do, let's see, just side. But I'm gonna try and see how I like, if I like 3/4. That's the intent, to see if it's nice or not. So we can go ahead and change the hands. We can also change the arms. And we can also change the colors of everything. Oh, hold on. If I do this, it changes that. We can do the inside, also gets changed. The blue is also that now. And then we can kind of modify everything else from that. This is a sketch I did. Didn't really add anything to it. I wasn't sure what I wanted it to look like. I just added some basics, and this would kind of be the eel-y feel depending on the character. But we want it to touch the ground at least. I'm thinking maybe something like that for a foot. Then maybe we have the back foot kind of coming up here, maybe kind of coming down here. It looks more like heels now, doesn't it? So maybe, something more like that. Let's see. If we go back to the character template area we had here, one foot's down here, one foot's down here. It's very side by side, isn't it? This one here is more, and this is a RPG game. The sprite kind of looks like this instead. It's more of a posy feel, but this one's kind of walking around. Also an RPG, but this is the walking. I'm trying to think. This does not look like any of that, does it? I like this back leg, but I think it's this front leg that's making me not too happy about. Maybe we can try this. Add a foot here. Something like this. Oh, that does not look right at all, does it? Maybe something like this, or maybe like that. Just foot. Kind of maybe move the foot over here. That. I think that's a little bit better. It kind of shows off that the leg's maybe here, and then there's another leg here. That's the feeling I'm getting. And then let me make sure this is also going. Okay, so this is up. We're good in that. We're good on here. Okay. Good, okay, good. Alright, so let's see. In that case, we can go ahead, oh, we do have the colors to set already. So we can go ahead and get rid of this, since that won't be on here. You can also go ahead and get rid of that, and also get rid of that, just to fill it in. Let's see. It's a long story of copy pasting through all the Final Fantasy sagas since its beginning. Yeah, that's mostly what it comes down to, the copying and pasting and making sure things feel like they work together. I'm not ready for the copying and pasting saga. One of the benefits to using smaller sprites is that you can do a lot more, and it takes a lot less time to do things compared to bigger sprites. It's definitely a push and pull. The bigger sprites aren't better just because they're bigger. The bigger sprites, depending on what you need. I think it's always about finding what suits you best for what you need to accomplish. And for me, I want expressiveness. That's why I chose a bigger face. I want to be able to express the characters a lot better than if they were this size instead. That's always been my goal. Is I want very silly games that have a lot of expression and character is the final goal of my attempts. Let's see. Maybe this might come as this kind of wraps around. It's kind of going in this motion since it's 3/4. This is kind of the look I'm going for. Kind of like this. But it's less 3/4. 3/4 is kind of showing off. For example, this is halfway. 3/4 is usually, and let me do it here. And the thing as well is I'm probably thinking a little bit too much into it. Is the nice thing with Pixelart. I do say it, but you don't have to be too detailed about it. But it is nice to know why you're putting pixels down. 3/4 is more akin to something like, oh, hold on, like this, where some of the front's showing, some of the back's showing a little bit more than if it were half and half. And that's what I want. That's what this one is. This one's kind of more half and half. This one's more so kind of tilted. Hi, Abraham. Welcome back to stream. How are you doing? How are you up to? How are you up to? What are you up to? There we go. That's a little bit better. So maybe something more akin to this is a little bit better. Something more like that, but as you can kind of see from far away, that doesn't look nice, does it? So I'm thinking maybe we can round it out a little bit. This is where the the editing now takes place. I'm just trying to figure out the overall feel. And we can kind of modify it once we get there. The colors aren't too important at the moment, as the colors can always be changed post characters and stuff, making the colors changes. That's why I'm not too bothered about it, but I'd love to figure out exactly what palette I want for it. The formula was so popular, then everyone trying to intimidate them and the art style becoming what people expected about RPGs. I do agree, yeah. Once something becomes popular, everyone does it. So it's nice to remember, you don't have to do what everyone's doing, then it kind of sets you apart. Let's see, just got back from school, we shot a live stream talk show about movies. Oh, that sounds like fun. That sounds wonderful. Let me get some coffee. Live stream about movies. Movie talk shows. That is interesting. I always thought maybe I one day do a talk show. I don't know if I could. I don't think I could. I did think about it, but I think my services are a little bit more suited towards this type of live streaming. I definitely would like to maybe live stream other games or just fun, relaxing games. For example, maybe do some Minecrafting of that nature, but I'd love to do some sort of Minecraft server in the future. I definitely want to live stream, or at least live stream my progress of making Minecraft mods. It's always something I've wanted to do, so it'd be lovely to be able to try to do that on this channel, as that is also pixel art. A lot of my favorite things come from pixel art, is what I've realized over the years. I want to do some art streams where maybe we come up with different creatures for a Minecraft mod, things of that nature. It sounds like fun. Coming up with different foods, different crops. This does not look right. That always sounds so fun, and I want to see about maybe looking into that. I need to fix this curve, is like what I think I need to do. I think this is fine. I think this needs to come back in space more, as this is more 3/4 feeling. Have you played Yumi Nikki? No, I have not, but I can definitely, now that it's in chat, I can take a look at it later. But I'm always on the lookout. Is it a pixel art game or just a game in general that you think would be fun? Trying to figure out that 3/4 feel. Maybe something more akin to like that. And then we have the line come here. Like that, maybe? 3/4-ish kind of feel. And then this is the center. So this center kind of takes center. This center takes center. Center stage kind of going up and down through here. Like that can kind of feel like center. Trying to set up your editing internship and not having any luck finding what fits you. One of your buddies is going to see if he can get you into a place he works where he shoots and edits Minnesota sports like basketball and football, as well as local tournament-based stuff. Interesting. Sounds like you've got a lot of work ahead of you? I guess is the best way to say it. It's a lot of work, but I hope it'll be a lot of fun work. I've never been a sports person. But I've always liked the passion that sports people have. I think it'd be fun to maybe make a game invented on a new sport. Like, for example, how Harry Potter has Quidditch, I think it's called. But things of that nature I always find very neat. And finding new things that people do in their fun time. Try it if you really like pixel art. It's free on Steam. Ooh. That's true. Ooh. I will certainly give it a try then if it's free. Question is then, do I stream it or do I just play it? It's become my most recent question nowadays is play or stream? Playing is a lot easier. Currently I'm playing Bloomtown at the moment. Something like this might be 3/4. A little bit more 3/4-ish, right? We have the side and we have the front, like sort of split. Let's see. Not a sports person either, just passion for video editing. I see. Yeah, I can understand that. Some people aren't sports people, but there are analytics people. So they decide, you know what? If I can't play the game, I'll write about the game. I'll write about the statistics. And in the meantime, what character is this? This is the new and improved character template we're attempting to do. The idea is that since I updated the size of my original character, we're going to update the characters overall in sizing. It's a bit time for an upgrade. This was the old character sprite front. This is now what they are, and this is the old side from the customer side. So now we're doing this customer side. It's a attempt to upgrade a little bit. I'll probably do either 1 or 2 more final passes of the character before I actually finalize it. But for now, this is the hope and being the character's look. The only issue is figuring out the sprite feat. I think I struggled with the feat before. Doing witches and wizard NPCs, or there will be some bizarre ones too. Witches and wizards. Since it takes, I might do, as someone suggested before, a capybara. That kind of sounds fun. Maybe some characters that are shapeshifters. Maybe they're allowed to shapeshift on canvas. Kind of like druids, but wizards. Animal shape-shifting characters could be fun, maybe, to have them come on and sit down and do those things. That sounds like it could be fun. But I just want to do basics for now, and then we can kind of figure out all the fun stuff later once the game is actually something. And I'm actually, as I'm looking at this, and I'm also seeing that I need my charger, and I don't have my charger on me. Oh boy. I think I know where it is. Do I? Yes, I do. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me go grab my charger for my werewolves. Werewolves could be cool. The thing is, they're supposed to be, well, how do werewolves sit down and eat? But I'm always a fan of werewolves. If I could add them to my game, I won't complain. Give me 1 second. Let me grab my charger. It needs a charger. I did know where it was, which meant I knew exactly where to go. And now it's charging. We're all good to go. So let's see. Hi, Chucks. Welcome to stream. I don't think I've seen that name before, but welcome. So let's see. You're not a sports person. Oh, hold on. Where'd my glove go? Let's see. You had to redesign and rebuild the website for a sports club, and your company told you to go to the games for support on weekdays and presented as a perk. You cried inside. Yeah, I can understand. I've had to go to some before just to show support for friends. I couldn't. It was very hard. I like that they like doing what they're doing, but it's very hard to engage with something you can't personally engage with. Like, for example, going to a class that you're not really a fan of and things of that nature. Let's see. They can eat meat only pot pie. JK. I think it'd be interesting having some sort of, what is it, fleshomancers, but in that sense that'd just be necromancers, wouldn't it? Characters that deal with flesh. And yeah, that would be necromancers. Like, you have some characters that deal with the undead, maybe some are doctors. This society doesn't dislike necromancers. Actually, necromancers are a very profitable job. There are people who can do seances, solve murder mysteries, things of that nature. So necromancers are cool. Everyone wants to be a necromancer, but you have to be born into the magic. And as I'm looking at this, I'm trying to think, how would the characters walk? And I don't know if I like this 3/4 idea. Are they, This would kind of be the walking track, right? Their feet would touch the ground here, and this is the ground. This seems more side-scroller feel than top-down feel, is the feel I'm getting. This is the floor. And I don't think I like that. For example, this is the floor, right? And then this is the bottom. If this game were... I'll do this here. If this game were top-down or side-scroller, this would make sense, right? Sort of feel like that. This is where the floor goes. Let's see. The artist formerly known as Sneed. I think I remember that name before. Welcome. Let's see. You have that one waitress who forgets to tell the vampire his dishes had garlic in it. Oh, that'd be awful. I definitely think it would be cool to add more characters. Right now it's humans, but vampires, werewolves, ghouls, and goblins. That sounds like fun. You always struggle with perspective. Hi, Disco. Welcome. And yeah, this is what this perspective feels like. Compared to my old perspective, if I go back into here, you can kind of see. If I bring this guy down, this guy also fits on it, but they also fit on it on one that looks like, if I go back to side, they would also fit something that's like this. If I do this. Something like this, where it's very flat. It's a thing of how do I want perspective? And right now, that's what it's feeling like. This and this. The thing about this sprite, the sideways, is that it can work for both. But this guy can't really, and let me grab him. This guy can't really do that if they're on here, because they're being air. And right now, the way the cafe is designed, and I definitely want to redesign, but this is kind of the design I have at the moment. Oh, hold on, here we go. You can kind of see how it's top down. And what we can also do actually, which is great news for us, we can take this current character and see how they fit. As I said, the cafe will be redesigned, but this is the basics idea. So this is the perspective I want, as I want to be able to see the tables and their food. But the idea, well, the issue right now is that there's too many customers. So let's make the customers bigger and the seats bigger and all of those things. So do we want a character kind of walking around like this? And I don't know if I like it as much. It works. And if they look down, then they're walking down. So this is them walking sideways. That's not too bad. And then if they're downwards, go back to the cafe. Oh, I know why. It needs to be front. There we go. Oh, never mind. Where'd you go? There we are. Like downwards works, them walking downwards. But them walking sideways, it could work, maybe. Maybe. As it's not too bad once I actually put it into the world. Not too shabby. I'm just thinking, it looks a little off, but maybe it's not off, it just feels off. So let's keep pushing it, and if need be, we can always redo it. For now, I think, let's stick with it and see how far we get. The garlic idea, though, it's funny. The thing is, well, I mean, she's a very good necromancer. Like, she's top tier. She's very skilled and talented, but she doesn't want to do anything with those skills and talents. She doesn't want to be a part of the family line. So because of that, her family doesn't like that idea that with all her skills and talents, she doesn't want to do the thing that she was quote-unquote born to do. Well, she's good at necromancy, and she decides at some point in the game to hire skeleton butlers, which will be fun. It'll be fun to hire those guys, and they'll manage your things while you're in the back and cooking, just casting your spells and everything. Let's make this a little bit flatter. I'm just overall trying to round it and make sure it looks like it's sideways. I think kind of making it go back in this line kind of helps a little bit. I'm just trying to think about perspective at the moment, and definitely feels a little wonky. It kind of feels like their chest, like they're very proud. That's the feeling I'm getting, and that's not what we want. So I'm gonna carve away lots of this to hopefully help with that feeling getting moved a little bit. This is their neck, right? That's as well the thing. That's their sideways head. If this is 3/4, that doesn't look like 3/4. This is a flat head, like this, compared to the body, which is like this. So it looks a little off. The best I can explain it. For example, this is the front, this is the side, and then this is the, well, let's choose a color here. This is the side, this is the front. That's what it looks like at the moment. And it looks a little off, that's why. So in a way, it'll be a maid cafe. In a way, a very gothic maidish cafe. I don't think I'll make the skeletons wear maid outfits. But it could be fun. Yeah, I want them to be, it's a very classy place. She's a goth, so her style is best described as Gothic Lolita, so it definitely would fit into it feeling like a maidish cafe, except instead of maids, it's skeleton butlers. I know someone suggested before some customization. I think maybe we could have that in there. Maid outfits if you want maid outfits. But overall, it's supposed to be classy at the moment. And this is the perspective I'm running into at the issue. This is the side. This is the front. The front's more so, if anything, a little more like this. So the issue is it looks funny. If we want the head, we'll move this the way this is kind of our perspective buddies and helping us figure things out. Let me go ahead and grab you, and you. Prop you out. Move you to here. Or where? Paste. Merge you down. There we go. Merge down. So there's two things. Oh, don't know what I just did. There's two things we can do. The way this guy's perspective is that their face is like this. They have the side face, like this, and the side body. That's the way this is shown, like that. And then this is here, feel. That's how their body is. And like I said, this is side face, but side body. So either we do side, or we'd have to do side head too. So we'd have to maybe do something like this, and then the head would be like this, kind of back in, well, it's more so like this. Something like that is a little bit more explaining of what I want to be able to do, or think might need to happen in order for it to look better. So the head would have to look a little bit more something akin to that in order for it to feel a little bit more correct. Move this guy down a little bit for the head. I'm not too sure. We have this for the body, this for the head. So this would feel better than having the head at the side, facing directly to the side. So we can either do 3/4 everything or half of everything on the side. I'm not too sure. Let's try maybe changing the head. That might help a little bit. I'm curious, if we go back to all of the characters here, this is side, that's a side head, but it's 3/4 body. Interesting. This is side head, but it's 3/4 body. Huh, isn't that odd? This is 3/4 head, 3/4 body. But this is more so an RPG sprite. And I know, or at least I think I do. Here, side head, side body. And I think I have on here as well the characters from the Adulthood. No, just front. But I do have, if I can find it, video design sprites combination here. Some characters from games and sprites that have been worked on before. Let's see, this one comes, I'm looking for them. I believe it's, no, it's not that one. This one? No. This one. No. Where are they at? Which one is it? Double-sided cream. This one. Tobishima. Their characters are also side and 3/4. You can kind of see both. 3/4. This one's kind of more side. This one's kind of more 3/4. It's more top down. That's why I have these here. These are from itch.io. I'm thinking, and it's a thing of, okay, perspective-wise, how do we want it? You can kind of see the foot here. It's definitely different sizing. It's very chibi-esque. That's why I got it. I want to be able to have really expressive faces and cool hairstyles. Let me get some coffee. So here they do have 3/4 heads, which is interesting. Here they also have 3/4. I don't think this is, yeah, this is not side. It's kind of side, it's more so side scroller, I'd say. But the heads are 3/4. The body is more front facing. You can't really see the sides. Even here you can kind of see the 3/4 feel, but it's more front facing, so it's more like 75%. Well, not 75, like 60-ish? Oh, I don't know. Okay, let's give it a go. Let me get a little more comfy. Let me scoot in a bit. And then we can try seeing the 3/4 head. We can kind of mess around with it a little bit. Let me... that. Okay. Gotta feel a little bit better. Okay, let's see here. Move this guy over. Okay. Let's go ahead and try perspective. I'm going to duplicate this guy so we still have a backup. And then let's try a few things and get creative. Well, first off, we need to change this itself, the outer line edges. This comes down, and I'm okay with it coming down, but let's try bringing it up one to see how that feels. Oops. Wrong up one. All of it needs to come up one about here. And then it kind of needs to come back in space. And again, because it's 3/4, we kind of see the... it's supposed to curl around. That's the feel we're supposed to be getting and we're not getting. We'll go ahead and maybe get rid of some of this. This kind of comes in. This kind of comes back a little bit. Kind of show off that it's curving in, maybe. Maybe something more akin to this to kind of show one side's front, one side's backwards. And in that sense, maybe we can also add this here to help us feel like it's going one side's front, one side's backwards. In that sense, maybe it looks more something like this. Maybe we can kind of curve this to kind of be the back. If anything, I feel like this could kind of be a little bit more of that side. I definitely think it helps having this duotone. Maybe something like that. Then it kind of looks split, doesn't it? It's all kind of about just mushing and seeing what kind of, oh, guys, keep saying kind of, but seeing what feels better, what feels nice, and moving things around. Okay, I am on the right screen. Let's see. It's just about a lot of testing and trial and error. We can kind of take this guy here. Maybe we can move this back in space like this. So then this kind of gets moved like that. And this gets moved, gets erased, this gets destroyed. And then we have this as the rest of the body, kind of moving back in time. This is 2, let's see, it's 2, 3, 3. I think that works. Or something like that. We can kind of maybe make it more akin to this. More of a curvy feel we can kind of do. And then this can maybe be 3, and that's also, no, we could maybe like that. Maybe something like that instead. This is kind of curving around. Maybe it's the head that feels off. That's what I'm starting to think. Maybe the head can kind of be pushed more forward. And this can kind of feel, as I thought about it, maybe doing some sort of cloak like that, but I don't think that looks right. And I don't think it looks right at all. Something like this. I think something like that. Kind of feels, that kind of works a little bit better, do you think? Or, yeah. It really is just about seeing how I feel. What am I feeling? What feeling am I getting? Does it feel right? Does it not? If it doesn't feel right, what do I need to change about it? It's just slowly going over with trial and error and trying to connect. Okay, it's reconnect. Okay, it's reconnected. Are we good to go? Hold on. I'm checking. I give it a second. Every time I think it's connecting and working, then it stops working. It stops connecting, and it's so unfortunate. I'm attempting. But apparently it doesn't like me attempting. Seems to be good and go? Yeah? Okay. Can't unimagine them being absolutely ripped and having ropes fit them perfectly? Huh? I might need a little bit of clarification on that one. I got a little confused. I lost the program. Do you mean the characters being ripped? I'm not sure where the ropes come in at. I guess that's what I'm really confused at. Where the ropes come in. I was not too sure about that one. Let's see. I'm glad it's connecting though. I'm glad I'm getting the messages. Let me move this up a little bit. Something like this maybe to help in figuring it out, like that. Something like this maybe. Just something doesn't feel right. I think that's my issue. Maybe the head needs to be pushed up again, like this. Look at them in the bottom corner. Just dancing. Oots, 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 oots. Head moving and in and out. Maybe the head needs to be back, but no, I think... This is tricky. If we do it from the side, it might feel a little bit better. I wanted more of the body to show, but I mean... No, I don't know. Right now, if we copy this guy and paste him into the gallery... I say gallery, but... I think this would feel weird walking around. It'd look a little funny, wouldn't it? No neck? Maybe the neck is the issue. Do you get Aseprite from the website or Steam? I got Aseprite from Steam. And welcome, Dungeons and Determinations. welcome to stream. No neck could be the issue. I don't think she has a neck in her audio. There's no neck here. So I'm not doing... Maybe neck would be needed? To feel a little bit better, we can try a neck. But the original doesn't have a neck. Maybe the neck is what's making it feel off? I definitely think neck does help a bit. Maybe we can do side. Think about that. So if we do this up a bit, then add the neck. The neck would kind of be a little bit back here, wouldn't it? Maybe like that. Neck? I kind of do like the idea. You should just you're just colors and suggest one? Need a little bit of elaboration on that one. Maybe it got laggy? Let me double check. Let me go ahead and check which online. Maybe colors then suggest one? You think the colors are what's off? I'm just using these colors right now just to see perspective wise and figure that out. I think the neck part actually does help. it kind of helps me figure out, okay, this is the neck, this is the shoulder, this is the other part of the body. This is where the shoulder goes, so maybe that's why it feels off. The shoulder needs to go here-ish, so maybe the head needs to move forward in that sense. Their arms being so big that they fill up the sleeves completely. I see. Their arms are big. I want to keep the hand size about the same. So it'd be about here. Their hands go maybe here. This is maybe where their hands would stick out. This is the bottom of the hands. Yep. This is the top of the hands. Yep. So it might be something like this for hands. Maybe something more like that. Or it would be here, right, for a thumb. Like that. And then the arms would kind of come down here. Kind of the side hands. Or maybe it'd be more like this. Maybe adding the hands can help a little bit. That feels so crooked. Okay, hold on. Maybe I feel like the arm would kind of go like this. This is how I feel the arm would work, right? Underneath the sleeve. So that doesn't look right. That does help figuring out the hands. And I do like the neck idea. Maybe if we try to figure that out that way. We can kind of take the hand here. Maybe something like that would kind of help. Like that, for example. So if the shoulder's here, then that means this kind of has to come back more. And this kind of has to come forward more. And if that's the head, we have to move the head also. That seems about right. This is the side head. So this would kind of complete the shoulder here. This is kind of the rest of the head. Ah, so then this becomes the front of the chest. This seems more side view. For example, this would be more side. Something like that instead. Maybe then this foot would come up a little bit. Let me go ahead and erase this part so I can get the foot up a little bit. Oops. I thought we were... Aren't you moving entirely? Hold on. This? There. Nope. Interesting. Oh, I see. Got ya. This has to come underneath the perspective. It goes under. So maybe a side view is a little bit better. Something like this. Erase this guy. This guy kind of comes back down here. This gets moved back one. Like this. Then this can kind of go maybe more round. Or even more side. Something to this extent. If this is more side then though, it kind of changes things. You can't really see the foot. I want you to see both feet, but I mean at this point, I want it to feel like it makes sense. So maybe something more like this. You can get rid of the center part for now. I'm trying to figure out everything else. For example, maybe this is side. This is front. This is kind of, yeah. I'm just really moving everything away at this point. And I think it does help a little bit, doesn't it? It's just a smidge. I feel like it is helping. But if that is the way their arms are, their arms would probably be more akin to something like this. Probably somewhere we remember as well. This is where the bottom of the hands lays, and this is where the top of the hands is. This has to go down one, like that. I'm thinking as well, it's a thing of, this is probably where the torso is. This is the torso, this is the pelvis, and these are the legs. This is the head, and this is all neck. That's a lot of neck. Have to go, good luck, making these cuties not look cursed. Thank you, Sakai, we'll need it. As yeah, these this is cursed at the moment. I wholeheartedly agree. Okay, let's see. I'll get rid of this. This is definitely tricky. We haven't even done animation quite yet, and it's already wonky. And in fact, we even started from a base, and it still looks wonky. It's a little disappointing, but it's okay. I feel like we're going a little bit faster than we once were, which is always nice. Let's, actually let me make this a different color. Maybe this color, to show off the arm. This is the arm. This is the shoulder, that's the neck. This is kind of the rest of the arm. Like this. You could even do this, so it shows off the side of the arm. This is just all arm at this point. Then we can kind of move that forward. This is upper arm, lower arm, arms. Oops, it would be more so akin to like that. So if that's arm, Yeah, this whole thing might just need to be changed. As I'm thinking, it's not the best. I don't think 3/4 might work as well as I thought it would. So let's just kind of blob things out a little bit more to make it a little bit clearer on what's going on. And I think starting from scratch might be a little bit better than trying to attempt at whatever this is. Let's give that a shot. Right now it kind of feels like side-ish, I'd say. A little funny looking, but I feel like it'd be side-ish nonetheless. And then the body, when it's like that, neck's usually forward, arms are usually backwards. We can go ahead and grab this guy. It might be more like this. And then if that's the case, the elbows also might come forward a little bit. And the hand might be more akin to like that. This is your thumb, this is the rest of your body. Maybe something more a little bit rounded. It looks like they have 2 fingers. They're like 2 guns. Let's see. Again, we make sure we measure and check this, so it might be like that. So this is the thumb, this is like the pinky. I think that looks okay. They are cursed though. This is kind of your arm. He's sure getting. So if that's the case, go ahead and take this again. We know, and we can kind of just look here. We have the bottom coming out from down here, and that is right. So we have the bottom, and then we kind of have that wrap around. And then here as well, we have the bottom and the kind of wrap around that comes from here. That's the overall aspect of the robe. It kind of just goes in a little bit more than it used to. So now it kind of has that. And let me zoom out here a little bit. Or I don't even need to zoom out there. I need to zoom out here. And it's a matter of just trying to figure out the right shapes and sizes for things. We can kind of make this go forward and backwards. Like maybe like that. Maybe a little bit more rounded. And we can kind of... We do that, and then we can maybe fill this out to be more that feel that we get from the body. So that has the arm coming out. We can go ahead and duplicate the arm. We'll just call this arm. We can go ahead and duplicate that guy, like that. Item. And then make sure the arm only comes from down here. That feels a little bit more right, in a sense, doesn't it? Let's see. I think it helps a little bit. And then we have the side of the body. We can go ahead and go back to this guy. Make this a little bit smaller. This can then kind of come out like here. Maybe like that. Then has this kind of curving in a little bit more like that. And then we can kind of take maybe more akin to this. Gotta be a little bit straighter, but it's still gonna be the same-ish. We can kind of have a little bit of a curve to it. So maybe something more like that instead. Might feel a little bit better. Ooh, game dev stream, it is, and welcome back, Luxuria Morningstar. Morningstar, I know that name. Weren't you the raider, right? Is that what it was from the vampire stream? Welcome back. I see, I remembered. I don't know if I got a proper chance to thank you, but thank you indeedy. And yes, it's a game dev stream, trying to figure out how to draw a wizard customer. It is hard, very hard. Certainly difficult, and I am struggling. But I'm attempting, and that's all that matters. The idea is that this was the initial sprite here, and now we're trying to upgrade the sprite to a different size, and you can see how well that's going. It's going. That's the important part. Progress. Whether for the better or worse, I'm not too sure. So let's see. Kind of going down, around, and seeing if I can figure it out. I want a nice feel of flow to it, but I'm not sure if that is what I'm getting at the moment. It kind of feels off. I think it's the neck. I think the neck feels off. At this point, I might have to get a person to see about anatomy and stuff, and I think maybe it's the neck. Maybe the neck needs to go back a little. Maybe it's the uneven neck, and then we can kind of bring this back one. And then we can kind of bring this down a bit, like that, maybe. Possibly like this. Like that. Maybe that can help it feel better. a little better, at least a smidge better. I think so. I think it helps a little bit, just a smidge. Just overall trying to make it feel nice. As this is supposed to be a very cool and breezy uniform. It's supposed to be very flexible. The characters in the game, what is it? They don't spell cast with their hands or any other motions. They just use words. Magic is done through their mouths and their words. It's that type of magic. Semantic? I think it is? No, verbal. It's either semantic or verbal. I can't remember. I kind of tried to base it off of the different aspects of D&D. But since the game involves typing and you're using your words and poetry, I figured that's how spells are made, through poems. So it's kind of a slam poetry sort of feel. How the game operates. But this is, oof. The game you are not too happy with me at the moment. Let's try this. And just, yeah! Nothing like a good old copy and paste to, help in these trying times. And I think at this point, symmetry might help us make things look a little bit better instead of, I mean, in a sense, typing is both semantic and verbal. I see, well, you as the person are typing, but in the game, the character's speaking the words, so she's reading them from a book. But semantic is physical, right? You use your hand motions. The idea is that words have meaning in this world, so books are really important as they're the spells that you read from. Literature is very important. They're not allowed for other students to read. The idea is that the characters will have currency, but since this is a fancy schmancy school, currency is through knowledge. Knowledge and power and reading. People who have a really good memory are very good at magic since they don't have to think of spells on the fly. This head. What's the neck? I liked the idea of a neck, but I'm not too sure. This looks a little silly, but maybe, If I slide this forward, is it backwards or forward? How does the head work? Hold on. Head, Oh, okay, I see. Head, person, side, view. Let's see. What are we looking at? Got ya. So the side view of a person looks like, and let me see if I can zoom in a little bit here to make it a little bit easier. If I go back into here, where are we at? In PureRef? And while we're waiting, get some coffee. Oh, this is the wrong PureRef. Hold on. Let me do this. Make sure it's the right PureRef. I have a lot of them open. It would be, where are we? Not that one, this one. Nope, not that one. This one. There we go. Transition. This is the PureRef you're supposed to be looking at, and it is also the PureRef that is not properly sized. So let me go ahead and just, you saw nothing. But this is the pose, like the side view. This has, let's see, this has you getting the game dev itch again. Good! I love for there to be more game devs out there and more games. I always like seeing games and the progress of games being made, and I wish there was a place that was easier to go to than somewhere like Reddit or, I say Twitch, but Reddit or Twitter. That's what I was thinking of, but game dev's fun. It's always fun to find ideas, make ideas, and do all of those things. So you have your head, this guy right here, then you have your neck. The neck goes back. Oops. Where do we go? Here we are. The neck goes back, and then you have the body, which comes like, oh, I see. I'm pressing space. That's the issue I'm having. And then you have the body that comes back like this. That's the body, how it works. You get Aseprite. Oh, I did read that already. You used to do it professionally for a few years before you became an anime character on the internet. What a backstory. That sounds so fun though. Professionally. I'd love to try to do professionally. Right now I'm working on my second game. So it's not professionally, but I want this game to go up on Steam. So technically it is professionally, in a sense. I do want to upload it there. My first game is on itch. It's more of a mini-game-ish feel. So if we compare these two, I think we can figure out why the head is wrong. We have the head here, and let me make sure the note is back. That sounds nice. More games, more good? Exactly. More games, more better, more good, more strong. Exactly. Alright. So we have our head here. Yes. And then we have the neck. Oh, I lagged for a second. Then we have the neck. Then we have the body. That is why it looks off. So what we need to do is have the head. Yeah, the head is fine. The head is more like this little guy here. This is fine. This is more or less what this is. But the neck needs to be about maybe halfway. The neck is kind of halfway, but not quite. This is the head here-ish. It doesn't look right. I think maybe it's the chest. The chest kind of comes out more. So maybe the chest needs to be more like this, and then the back of the body needs to come out more like that for it to feel better. And that's not what we're getting on here. You don't know that you'd re-enter the industry, but sleepy little prods are always fun. They are indeedy. The industry is hardcore. Definitely. I can see it as being stressful. I wasn't even in the industry. I was in college for a bit, and that itself was very hardcore. Definitely never again. Yeah, hobby game dev's the way to go. All the fun, none of the deadlines. Exactly. I am not a deadline fan. Not in the slightest. Deadlines? Psh, no, nada. Let me copy the entirety of this to make it a little bit easier to see. I'll file, save as, and bring you back over to Aseprite. So taking the proportions and everything into consideration, if we go back into here, I'll drag this guy up on stream, move him down here so we can kind of see a little bit easier. And then after I do that, I'll move the ear ref that we have down here like this. That way I can also see it on my screen. So I need to make it a little smaller, move him down, a little smaller, move him down, like that. Let's see. Can confirm the only deadline that matters is the one on your mortgage. Exactly, yeah. I do agree. It's a thing of, I like being able to set my own time, as I am. My timing's not the best. Okay, let's see. With that information down, we can kind of modify it a little bit. For example, instead, what we have here, this can kind of come more so like that. This can kind of come maybe a little bit more back. We want the more chesty feel, so maybe something a little bit more akin to this. But then again, the fabric kind of hangs off of the body. That might be something more like that that's a little bit better in. I say that. Let me go ahead and copy this, and then undo. And then duplicate it. Paste. Oh, never mind. I just want to have see a side-by-side for when it's done with the refresh ideas that I'm having. Okay, the chest kind of comes out here, and then we kind of go down. So it's kind of going straight down here, and then we kind of have it coming back a little bit, but then it's going in immediately. So kind of a more sort of a curve here, more of a back, in, like this. That neck that we had, we can add back again. The neck would kind of be more here. Then again, it's kind of a little wonky. I don't know about neck, but I'd like to see what neck kind of feels like. Like neck can be helpful. Let's see. You kind of have the head back here. This kind of goes back here like that. So something more akin to this. And then this kind of goes out like a puff. And then it goes down. Let's see about adding that like that. I'm just trying to figure this off based off of actual anatomy. Yeah, it's nice that you can do things without the knowledge of anatomy, but it does help, at least in understanding shapes. Right now I'm just trying to figure out proportions and body feel. I'm trying to get the overall idea of what it's supposed to be like. Moving things, switching things around. Trying to figure out a sense of feel for everything. So this kind of would be more around like this. Akin to that. It can kind of go up a little bit like that. I did like that idea. Let's see. You're meeting up with your parents for an early dinner. Have fun for the rest of the stream. Thank you for coming, Abraham, and I hope you have fun with your parents. Dinners are always fun, especially if it's a nice outing on a wonderful day. So I hope you have fun, and I hope the food is delicious. Alright, so let's see. I'm thinking something like that, that, and that. And then we have the float kind of coming over. So something like that, and something like that. And then we have it coming down like this to kind of give that feel of that chest feeling without it being too chest feely. I think could be maybe a little bit better. We could even see about maybe extending this back a little bit more. Maybe something like up 2, up 2, up 1. That might help a little bit. And in that sense, then the arm kind of feels a little bit off. You could then maybe adjust the arm to here. Or, Arm feels a little bit better when it's back there. Now as for this, I'm thinking Does it need to go back or forward? Oops, wrong thing. It needs to be this guy. Backwards or forward? I kind of think this helps. Question then becomes, alright, if that's good, is this one in the back good? Oops. Alright, now it should work. So if we out, in, out. I kind of think this works. And I'm also thinking this needs to drop down a little bit more. Something maybe more akin to a smidge to help the rounding. So maybe something like this. Maybe even like that. I kind of feel like this drops down a bit. Maybe even a little bit more. So it's 3-3 instead. But you can kind of see it looks a little lumpy, doesn't it? So maybe instead we do this. That is a little tricky. Maybe we can do it by 2s instead. Instead it looks like that instead. Like, oh, that's not too bad. Like this. Not too bad, not too bad. Maybe something like that. Oh, definitely not that. Something a little bit more roundish. A little more round is what we're going for here. I think that's okay. Something like that. Or maybe even something like this. Maybe it kind of comes down a little bit afterwards. No, definitely not. Okay. Then maybe it can kind of scooch in one. Like that. And then it can kind of come down a bit. Like this. To help in rounding. Trying to overall look at the rounding size. And taking the edges into consideration. Trying to get an overall feel for how everything looks. So maybe adding this here can kind of help with the... Nah. I think I liked the flat feel a little better. For example, I might take this guy, paste it, swap it over, move you over, and then go with the equal halves feel. Like that. I think that's a little nicer. We could even maybe move this in one to help with it looking different. Maybe something like that can be a little nicer. We can add the neck. There we go. I think that works a little better than what we had. And to check, now we can go in, scoot this guy back. This is what we had. This is the... Well, this is what we have now. Hold on. I think I moved the wrong one. You can move this back a little bit. There we go. Definitely feels different, doesn't it? The different change, I think maybe it's the neck, but if we do this and just add that neck so it looks the same, I definitely think it's the way the neck was positioned. I think is what made it a little bit funny. So now we can go and add the rest of the sprite together. So we can go ahead and maybe do that. Clean up everything a little bit more. So something like that. I think just something being a little bit even feels nicer. But now we have the issue of this hand. And it's not even in the slightest, and it hurts me. It hurts me internally, wholeheartedly. I feel the pain beneath it. But we're going to go ahead and merge this down. And we can go ahead and say this is the Gabby side test. Here, like that. Don't mind you're snooping around my itch page just a tiny bit. Appreciate it. I hope you like what you see. Right now on my itch, I have a demo for the game, at least the typing aspect. I haven't put the cafe portion up yet, as I wanted the cafe portion working first. But right now, the Necrotype Cafe has a demo, the prototype for the typing portion, so the rhythm typing aspect. I wanted to make sure that part was good, as that's the main mechanic of the game. So if that main mechanic is good to go, the cafe bit shouldn't be too bad. It's just a matter of getting it to work, and that is a little tricky at the moment as I am struggling. But we'll figure out that stuff tomorrow and figuring out the rest of the cafe. So I'm excited. I really want this week to be the stream week portion to be the one where we kind of buckle down as we're reaching the end of the prototype section. And then once that prototype section's good to go, we can actually start fleshing out the game. I'm excited. I'm very hyped. It is getting you to realize you'd actually try hacking around with Godot for a bit. Godot is wonderful. I agree. And exactly, do it. Do it. I 100%, yep. Totally not, no peer pressure or nothing. Let's see. I'm trying to get the hand and the arm to look cool, like it's going back in space. You've only made a Pong game in it so far, but you like it? Yeah, I like it indeed. I'm glad well, the thing is as well, I haven't used any other game engine. The other quote-unquote game engine I've used is Visual Studio. But aside from Visual Studio, the only one I've used is Godot. Godot is the only one I really like the look of. That's the one I've been sticking to. So this is kind of the elbow portion. Maybe it kind of curves back into here, but that looks weird, doesn't it? Look at the noodle arm. That doesn't look good in the slightest. So that's what I'm thinking, maybe having it be just hand here. But the hand is too thin. Maybe we make the hand thicker? Is that what we need to do to feel right? Because it doesn't feel right at the moment. It doesn't feel right at all. It's just the symmetry feels off. So if the hand was thicker, it would look like this. I mean, it's not too bad, but I feel like it should be back one. So if we go back one like this, I think that's a little bit better. Like that. But then it's the thing of, well, we make the arm one thinner again. We can kind of make the hand thinner, and I think that's a little bit better. It's a little smidge better. Let me get some coffee. I like that a little bit more, I'm thinking. Maybe then we can kind of also squeeze this in, but you see that makes them very thin. And I don't like that one bit, so never mind to squeezing it in. I think this works. I think this is fine. It kind of adds the flare here and there, but it doesn't make it too big. If we want the flare a little bit bigger, we might be able to get away with making it a little bit wider. But for now, I think this is good. I think it's a good upgrade. It's just about the side portion without the side portion being too side portiony. The legs and everything else is lining up. And we can also do a quick test by taking this guy here, moving him into the old cafe, and I think that works a lot better in them walking than the one we had before, which was 3/4. And so it does it look a little bit nicer than the 3/4. This guy walking along like this, but now walking along like this. I think that works, and you can't even see my demonstration. Hold on, it's very important you see it. Oh, hold on, like that. I think that works a little better. 3/4 was a nice idea, but I think this feels better than this. This feels like it's mid-walking compared to this, which is just standing still and kind of idling. That's good to go. Let me go ahead and get rid of this now, as I can. And I'll go ahead and save it. We can go back into here. We'll go ahead and hide this test guy. We'll hide the perspective as well. Next up is just figuring out the few details that we have on it currently. We can kind of just go in here and take the gold, and this just to make it look shiny. That was the purpose of adding these shiny guys like that. Maybe one back here. Make it look like it's shiny and sparkly. I'm wondering, should we do something like this? It could work in making it look like the parts are coming outwards. Something like that. Hold on. This comes in, let's see. If I go to a new layer, this is this. Interesting. This is this. Interesting. Then this bottom one here is this bottom one here. Oh, that might not work then. Let me get rid of these guys. Get rid of you guys as well. So that's the bottom of that one. We can kind of make this then kind of like this, or maybe it can kind of come back a little bit more like this and drop down to make it look like it's wrapping around. And then maybe this can kind of go, well, this is one up, so it might look more like this. To kind of make it look like the chains swerving around. And how was everyone's Halloween? It was wonderful. I had a little bit of a dessert crash, but hi Moon Raider, welcome to stream. Halloween was wonderful. I hope your Halloween was just as wonderful. With that done, as that little detail, we can go ahead with the, go ahead with the merge down here. This will be the Gabby side. Gabby, well, this is customer really. customer side test. This is customer side test 2. And then this is just customer side. Customer 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 side. We have the arm here, which now we can kind of get rid of. Now we don't need that test arm. And the back, we'll get to the back. The back comes a little bit different more soon. Customer front. There we go. Let's see. Hi, all the houses you are set into like January. Oh boy. I mean, that's always fun. It's gonna be Christmas, Halloween. I do like that. And you got drunk and watched Halloween movies. I see, I see. Hi, Pineapple Drift. I did the same thing, except without the drinking part. I had hot cocoa and pumpkin pie and cookies, things of that nature. But that sounds just as fun. You know, getting like a little bit of party and ootsing it on. And I can see it being exciting. So let's see. We can kind of, oops, this is the wrong layer. Let me get rid of you, go back to the customer side, kind of move in here. And I don't like the way that looks. I'm just trying to see, yeah, that corner feels off, doesn't it? And then in that sense, this needs to come up one like this. And now it kind of looks too rounded. Ooh, okay, we might have to fix that. And we can do that maybe with some dithering. Example, maybe we can take this color here and kind of make it rounded so it doesn't look as harsh, possibly. There's some things you could do. Let's see. The fireworks make getting any sleep on Halloween night a challenge? Fireworks on Halloween? That sounds like fun. That sounds like a lot of fun. Let's see, wish you could get drunk. All you have is your sticky juice box. Well, I mean, apple juice is delicious. I know what you're complaining about. Apple cider is even better. Don't worry, you'll get your chance in college. Oh boy. Apple cider is delicious. I can't complain. I would have liked some apple cider this year, but not this time around. I wanted to try something different. I'm thinking maybe the hands like this, or the cloak can kind of be, maybe this is a little bit of a floof part. Though it kind of looks funny, doesn't it? So maybe like this can kind of help it be arm. It kind of looks like a Popeye's arm though. Less fun when it's people setting them off right outside your building. I have people next door who, what was it, July 4th? Do it. And what was that sound? Dulce Night. Thank you for the follow. It definitely is a little scary when they're doing it so close. Let's see. Your friend gave you some juice and didn't even realize it was alcohol. I see. The surprise. Did you realize it at all, or by the time you realized it was already a little bit too late? So let's see. Now I'm kind of going in and figuring out the robes. This shouldn't be too tricky. I'm kind of taking the bends that we're seeing here and lining them up a bit. That might be like these three are the roby feels that you get. This might even come up a little bit like that. And then as we go in the center a bit, we can kind of change these lines to be more lighter, like that. And then like this, and this. And then as it goes up a little bit, we can kind of make it a little bit darker again as it's going towards the center. And this is how I've done the shading so far. I feel like it helps. Where you have the darker part at the bottom, kind of helping you show off, hey, this is the really dark part, or the dark portion. Maybe it should be more akin to this instead, where it goes from dark to light instead of dark, light, dark. So maybe it should be more something like this instead to help. I don't know. Let's see. What did I read? It was too late. I see. I'm glad you're, yeah, well, are you in better spirits before I say you are? Question is, are you? Like that. I think that helps. It's just a matter of preference, I think it comes down to. We have the darker colors here, and then we have the lighter guys. It might be like, this is lighter, and then this is a little bit darker. Maybe this is a little bit dark, this is a little bit darker. Like that. Maybe this is a little bit lighter because it's more akin to the kind of drowning out. And let's see, you like the second one better? It looks better? This one? This is the side profile. I should have kept it side by side a little bit. Let's see, you got such a weak stomach. You only ate 3 pieces of candy right now and are already kind of noxious. Yeah, I ate too much candy. I had a candy crash, and that's actually, I'm glad. Wonderful. That's good. So now we kind of need the flare bit here. That shouldn't be too bad. We can just do a few colors. You can see here what I did for the side, and I'll grab the old wizard. I had a few lines. I'm just trying to make sure it's not as harsh. I think these are a little bit harsher in color. But I want to have a little bit lighter, a little bit kinder to the eyes to look at. We'll kind of do instead, maybe take this dark color that we have here, and I'll also add it. Let's see, it's 2, need one here. I'm trying to round it out with the, what is it called? Anti-aliasing. That's what I'm trying to do here. Make it not look as staggering. And then we can go ahead and add maybe even a bit of shading here to show off that the head is kind of shaded. And then add some lines here to show off the curvature in the actual art. So maybe something like that. A little bit of 2 lines. What editor is this? You've never seen it before? This is Aseprite. And I think I might have the thingamajingy. Hold on, let me check. I might have the Oh no, I don't have it at the moment. It's a little unfortunate. But it's Aseprite. Here you go, hold on. I can do this. A-S-E-P-R-I. Oh no, there it is right there, Moonrader. Yep, Aseprite. $20, yep. There is a program I recently found out about though, and hold on, as I think it's handy. I'll show you really quickly as it's not too hard to show off. I'll bring you back to this screen. And then I can do this. Look at that. I had a thing prepped. So there's Librasprite, it's free. And then there's also one called Resprite. That's for the phone and the iOS, or their tablets and everything. So that's up there. That's the programs that I do recommend. So Aseprite's on the computer, but there's also Librasprite that is free, and it's like Aseprite. So it's basically Aseprite without being Aseprite. I'd give Librasprite a try. Might be cool. Alright, back to Aseprite we go. Yeah, it's like I put that up there, so now it's a little bit easier to show off what I have, but I thought I had my links ready. I think I deleted them. Let's see. Okay, I did read that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Aseprite usually looks like, let's see. It usually looks like this, but I have it set so that the bar is at the side, so I can sit at the side, and I like this square profile a little bit more than the regular preset that is at the bottom. So I've kind of moved things around. It doesn't look too much like Aseprite anymore, I can understand. Although you might not like seeing it. So you've always wanted to make Pixelart games, you only need some basic C coding. That's all you really need, some basic C coding. You start off with the basics, and then as you go, things get better, things improve. I have a game, well, the game I'm working on currently, Necrotype Cafe, was made initially. It was a cafe game I made as a final project for college, and I made it in C++. And I made it in Visual Studio Code. And that has been, the idea is that I'm going back and updating the game instead of it being a really quote-unquote basic simple coding, I'm making it in Godot. But yeah, you really only need basic simple coding. What you need is, you need spirit. I'm sure you have a lot of that. It's just ate a full-size Hershey's, it's 80 degrees out. I fear for your heart. Your heart and your soul and your heat and your weather. Good luck. You'll probably need it. And what I'm realizing right now is that if I use these dark colors, it kind of looks like it's going through the clothing. So I'm kind of trying to make sure it doesn't look like it's doing any of that. So I changed the color setting to hopefully make it less noticeable. And then I'm going in here and adding the bright tones to hopefully make it look like it's still doing its thing without doing its thing too much. That's what I'm attempting to do, at least. Something like that might help a little bit. And then maybe something like that to show off, or hopefully seem like it's not as clear, and then we can kind of maybe also cut this off, but I'm thinking the lines are okay. Let's see. You're crying the first time 40 degrees weather, you're from Hawaii, and you're taking college in Washington. I'm not good at numbers. 80 degrees is hot, right? Or is it 60 degrees that's cold? Just tell me if it's hot or cold. That's the best way I can understand the description of things. As for this, I'm thinking maybe this comes down a little bit. That looks a little bit better. Just the small pixel change, right? This versus undo, undo, undo. That versus this. It's a small change, but I think it helps. Let's see. Had hail last night. I don't think I've experienced hail before. It sounds wondrous until you actually remember hail hurts, right? And is it you and your Aseprite sugar sprite, or the side model nose looks like a dog snout? It does look like a dog snout. It's meant to simulate what anime kind of looks like from the side, as, and I think I've showed this before, but I was talking about it previously, how this, it looks a little creepy. How do you get the nose? Is it just gonna be like this for the nose? It doesn't look as interesting. Usually for an anime side profile, and I can show you as well. Anime side profile. Profile. I want my Pixelart to feel anime-esque. So the idea is to take different aspects from that. And if we go into pure really quickly, you can kind of see how anime styles do kind of have that snout look, right? Compared to maybe a more human face, which is more flat. So it has a more snout-like feel to it. And you could extend it out like 1 or more pixel, or would it look too weird? We can try. So let's give it a try. A sprite. Here we go. As you have to remember as well, we're not seeing it up this detail. It's more so like this. That's probably why. I will ask you, as I'm curious, do you think that this looks weird? Does it look weird from this distance when it's like this? As this is more of a finished person compared to the white one, which looks more like makeup? Or does this still look a little off? As if it's more extended, you can kind of see it. Then it starts to look more snout. Or hold on, side, face, there we go. As if I erase this, it kind of looks a little off. I added the nose a little bit to add, and if it's just 1 pixel of nose, that doesn't look too bad. I think that just that 1 pixel could probably be it, maybe. Get rid of this. Oops, hold on. Side face. Maybe that. That helps a little bit. Maybe adding, hold on, well, it won't let me, but maybe adding like that can kind of add another pixel. The slender woman. She is very slender. Yeah, it's a thing of preference, and I think maybe this might help with making it feel a little bit better. But you guess it's the fact that pixel art is kind of weird with proportions. Yep, it is. And I think, truthfully, I kind of do like that a little bit more. Just that 1 nose pixel. Especially maybe we can do a Pinocchio character, and now we have the Pinocchio nose. With the no nose, yeah. I agree, it looks weird with the no nose. Looks a little scary. Even if you add the nose, if it'll let me. Nose here, it doesn't look as right, does it? So let me go ahead, and I'm curious to see as well in other games. If we go back into here, you can kind of see the side. I mean, this is 3/4, so maybe if we go to here, it kind of looks like a snout in Stardew as well, doesn't it? A little bit of a snout in the way the side is, and you can see as well, I don't have an outline for her face. And in Stardew Valley, they have the outline for the face. If I go back to here, let's see what other games. Chrono Trigger doesn't have that kind of snout, but their head's also a little bit more 3/4-ish. So it's interesting. I always find it fun to kind of look at sides and compare them. This character's a goat, so we don't look at that one. That one's not a character, or not a person. This one also kind of has that snoutish look to them to kind of like the face pop out. And I think, yeah, I could see this working a little bit. It looks like really flat. Yep, either that or this. But I think this definitely makes it look snout-like, and I keep saying this, but I think I do have to show it to get my point across. Every time I see the more snout-like, I'm thinking of thing 1 and thing 2. If I can find it. This. I see the side of the face, and I think this. This nose, I feel this when I'm looking at it. It gives me a very uncanny feel when I'm looking at that face. So let's see. Sartorial is a ram, so you know it makes sense. A ram is interesting. I know my one character had hair like a ram. Right, doesn't it, the face kind of remind you of that? That's the feeling I'm getting, it's just that face. I'm getting a feel of that when I do this. Yeah, isn't it scary? I used to watch that movie all the time. That's the feel I get when it kind of looks like this. Even if you kind of extend it out, it looks a little funny. And I always find it so fun how you can just little differences can kind of help in changing things. Kind of maybe the nose can go up there, maybe the nose can go down there. Just swapping things around and trying and seeing what you like. I do the nose here because the nose is here as the front view. front-facing necromancer model. Front-facing. Yeah, this front-facing one's a little... Well, this is kind of the default, so we can kind of color it. I'm not sure what color I want blue to be quite yet, but the necromancer robe would be purple. Gabby's front-facing isn't too bad. Where are we at? The front? Here. Right now the front's okay, I think. It doesn't look scary. But I definitely think, you know, the nose is up to preference. Some people like adding the nose, some people don't. And if we go back to the customer's front, you can kind of see, nose, it doesn't really matter, I think. But I like the nose. I think it adds a little bit more flavor and character. Especially if we want to add a character who maybe has a longer nose, we can kind of do that. There's different ways you can do noses, maybe a really long nose. I think it adds for some variety. A lot of anime characters don't have noses for the art, and I think it's nice. It definitely is a lot less detail, but it overall I think helps in making it some cuter in GBS. Some animes really have no mouth even. It depends. Really like the very rizful for legal reasons, huh? I don't get that word. I'm a little confused on that part. Okay, so with all of that said, I think this is good to go. Now we just need the back of the customer. That's gonna be a little tricky, I presume. So we can go ahead and slide this guy over here. And we can go ahead and take the customer. Looks great with just pixels there. Yeah, I do like it. Just the single pixels. That's what always gets me about pixel art, is that the singular pixels always make such a huge difference. All right, so our back. Back shouldn't be too tricky. It just seems to be a recolor that we need to do. Tricky part's gonna be the hat. That's gonna be the hard part. And if we go back into my wizard compile, this is the current back I have, and this is the right one, yep. So it's currently like this as the current compile. And I definitely do like how this one seems more layered. This one seems more dress-like. There we go. Dress-like. There, I can speak. But for this, we can go ahead and, as well as realizing with the customer front, we can kind of also underline this as being in shadow, like this. Just with a shading to show off, hey, look, it's in shadow. It kind of shows off the body. And you can kind of add this as well for shadow feel. Maybe even add this and this to kind of show off shoulders. And with that said, we can kind of go back to our customer back. And we can go ahead and add this as well. We'll just call it back. There's no need to even add customer. So front. And then we can go ahead and say, where's our side? Side. There we go. In our back, it should be as nice and easy as just coloring things in and changing things. Ah, charisma. To have charisma, I see. I don't know if they have charisma. That's a bit of a stretch. Them having a cool feel to them. Something like this, I think. Feet are always so tricky for me. Let me zoom in a little bit, like this. Can also be used as a general good thing. I see. I can never understand that word. It's been positively and negatively used so many times. So we can have the feet kind of be like this. It kind of looks like a little waddle. If we do heels, would it be like this? This kind of looks like goat feet, doesn't it? So maybe not. Maybe the feet can kind of look like this. I'm not too opposed to that. Maybe... That doesn't look great. I think this works. Maybe we can even... Well, the feet kind of being two apart helps. But if the feet were like this, maybe a little bit wider apart, then we can kind of have the feet show off like this. It depends, I think. More goats? No, more goats. And hi, Asmodeus the Dev. Welcome back to stream. Hi. I'm thinking it stays like this. I think this kind of helps. Maybe even two of these, or maybe even the goats. The goats are coming back. It's okay. No tutorial here. Like that, I think, kind of helps it look more shoe-like, maybe. Just adding those sides kind of look like side pixels. And then we can go ahead and make the colors here match the colors out there. We can go ahead and do this and just go in and highlight all of the everything. When I say all of the everything. The neck also gets changed, so Oh, that might be a little bit of an issue. Hold on. This is just this front view from the back. So we should be able to just paste, copy, and then go to the back side, paste. Oops, where'd the face go? Oh, I know why. I have to paste like this, don't I? Nope. Okay, hold on. Copy. Copy. Control C. Oh, front. Paste. Paste, you go here. Ah, yes, I see. All right, then we kind of go back here. We take this back layer. This is the front that we need. And then we can kind of modify this back a little bit. Like this. And that. And that gets rid of all of those things. Looks a little scary like an owl, doesn't it, at the moment? We can go ahead and merge this down. And then get rid of everything that is scary about this back view. It's no longer scary, it's okay. Hi, Akio Kami? Is that how you say it? I don't think I've seen your name before. Welcome to stream. Hi. Let's see. You can kind of take this and... I mean, now I'm looking at this and thinking this, like that for the side, right? The backwards head would look good as a zombie character. It would. Adding a zombie character sounds like fun. I could definitely see a zombie character being a thing, especially, you know, since she is a necromancer. I see, good work, thank you. I'm glad you like it. Zombie character, I mean, she's a necromancer. I can definitely see her being friends with some zombies. I don't know about zombies being actual people, but she has hired skeletons. Maybe there's zombies and skeleton butlers. That could be a cool idea. Just trying different ideas. Let's see. Did I miss anything? You're making a horror game in Godot since you've been seeing a lot of people using it and you should get back into it. You should. Godot is both, you know, horror games. I am a little bit biased against them, but any game is a good game as long as you're making a game. It's always fun to try to dip your toes into game dev. I think it's a fun endeavor and a fun hobby to get into. The question is, these pixels, all of them. But I definitely think you should. It's fun. And I think pixel art and just dev stuff in general, something that a lot of people want to do, but don't know how to start. I'm hoping a lot of these streams and just me doing different things can help people see how to get started and do things like that. Godot over Unity? Well, I haven't tried Unity before, so I can't give a true recommendation. I like Godot just because I like the look of it. I can't really say too much about it. Unity, I just like the look of it over Unity, and I haven't tried Unity to say I don't like it. I just like Godot more from just looking at it. Let's see. Zombie help is free labor, but you doubt it meets sanitation standards. True. I feel like it'd be easier to clean up skeletons and zombies. Keep them nice and clean compared to zombies. Just wash off the bones. Zombies, you have to worry about flesh and everything, and yeah. Sanitation. I can see skeletons being a little bit easier. The cloak is so cute, and you love the purple. It's great. I'm so glad. Yeah, it's an upgrade from the old sprites to the new sprites in hopes of making it look cooler, cuter, and nicer. I overall want it to be cooler looking, guys. That's the whole point of the game, is to make it look cool, cute, and then once that's done, it's a matter of making the animations fun and adding everything else. Just continuously adding more. This is the bare basics, and then once I get that done, stop zombie selling. Well, the thing is that the zombies, the way this game world works is everything's consensual. You have to ask a spirit if they want to work, and if they agree, then they can. You can't summon a spirit that doesn't want to be summoned. So everyone agrees. Everyone agrees to the cause, thankfully at least. I guess there are evil necromancers in this. There can be, and maybe that is it. The good, ethical necromancers talk to people and they do their thing compared to the evil ones, which maybe they don't give permission. Maybe they force people. But mostly, it's the good ones. The good ones. Everyone agrees. What is the customer? This is the customer. These are the customers. These are the template of the customers. Once I add on to the game, different customers will have different cloak colors to symbolize them being, different customers will symbolize different cloaks for different classes. Let's see, few that you needed to file a complaint, no. These are the customers, they'll have different hairstyles, different eye colors. This is just the template to get an idea of this customer sizing. For example, and I can show you really quickly, here in the cafe, this is the old cafe, this is the customers at their seats, sitting down, getting served and all of those things. They're elves? No, they're wizards with long ears. Humans with long ears. The idea is that we're upgrading these guys to this size, and then we'll also upgrade the cafe itself so that it's a little bit bigger and a little bit more expressive. And okay, let's see. Kind of feeds the purpose. No, it doesn't. I don't think it defeats the purpose at all. Necromancy is about spirits and undead and death and despair. And if everyone's agreeing, you don't speak with dead. It's so fun. I think it works perfectly. I'm thinking as well, this backside here, maybe it should be more like that. I think that works a little bit better. Emo, she's a goth. She is a gothic necromancer. Got a more so of a, I try to describe it more as like a gothic Lolita, but she's goth. More of the, and it doesn't have to be black for it to be goth. She kind of has the heavy makeup, more despaireish look. Nothing sus here going on. Okay, so in saying all of that, I think this can kind of come around from the back, like this, to kind of make it look more like it's wrapping around. Like that, to kind of help. Those heels are... Yeah, I agree. It's supposed to be, she's more like a high-class lady. Not goth. Necromancers are a very highly respected form of magic, as they can do, they're detectives and they can solve crimes, they can speak the dead, they're good for eulogies, things of that nature. Necromancers are they're very respected in this world. You see, you need the neat book series where to keep zombies alive, the necromancer has to beat a drum to keep the zombies under control. Interesting. That is an interesting take. There's definitely, I know, different ways of doing things and different takes on how necromancy works. And I do like reading the different renditions. I think it's always fun to see how other people do it and see how it's done. And you love the world building? It's so fun. I love world building. It's always my favorite part of a game. And saying that, this front kind of needs to come in a little bit. Looks a little funny. Looks not curved enough. Let's see. Where are we at? You need to be erased. Why aren't you doing what you need to do? I erased this guy. Huh. Where are you coming from? Who told you to do things? Where are you? Is it here? You're somewhere here. Uh-huh. This is weird. Nothing's in this folder. So who is... Ah. Interesting. I don't know how this got in this layer. Let's yoink you. There we go. Front is now front. More like this. I think this is a little bit better. Maybe even slide this across a little more like that. Like that. Bring this down, bring that down. Let's see. Let's like a substitution of the heartbeat. That's even cooler. And it would kind of go in line with the rhythm part of the game I have going, where you have to keep to the rhythm. That would be cool, kind of having a rhythm beat you have to go on to keep the zombies in line. That's a cool idea. Keeping to the rhythm like a heartbeat. Making your project right now? Good! Wonderful. The more the merrier. It's always so fun. Okay, so we have the front, we have the back, and now we need the arms. And I'm thinking as well, we can always save it, but for the back especially, I'll do this, and then we'll have the back arms, just so we don't have to get rid of the colors and designs. But we can go ahead and have that centerpiece. That was another thing too. Why I want to stream so much dev and pixel art stuff is because I think pixel art's the easiest type of art to get into, especially when you want to make the art for your own art for your games. Getting the animations, all of those things down, I think is a lot easier to do when you try to attempt it with pixel art compared to other mediums of arts. So that's why I would definitely want to do more of things like this, or more animations, more different studies, because I think it's fun, and especially since there's not a lot of content like that out there, fun to help expand on the idea. I say as I'm struggling. That kind of makes it look like it's coming from the front, doesn't it? If it's more so like, and kind of coming from the back, might maybe look more like this, like that, like yes. I don't like the way the back side looks. Maybe we can have the hand kind of coming like this. Oh, that hand is gonna bug me. That hand is gonna bug me. Maybe we can just, you know, take a little from what we have already and just, you know, take the front and just, you know, just do one of these numbers and just kind of, just, copy you. It'll let me. It's not letting me. Hold on. Grab you, grab you, grab you, and grab you. And cut you. Erase all of that. Paste. Just gonna do one of these numbers. I see your games. Gotta come up one. About here. So if I just take the front arms and make them look like the front arms and just that smidge of that. That's how the arms would look like, or at least how the arms look like from the front. Might be able to get away with something like this, and then have it look like it's coming from the side, like that. And then maybe like that. Maybe this works. Ooh, that might be a little tricky. I'm thinking maybe it's the color that's a little bit off. Maybe something like that. And then, oops. That got a little bit better. Issue is, oh no, that's perfectly the right part. Merge that down. Merge down. Back. Arms. I think that works. For now, at the very least, until we figure out something else. Maybe even something like that can help. Then we can kind of go to the front and also get rid of that. It kind of looks more like arms, I think. Looks a little off, I will say. Maybe something more like that's a little better. And then you can kind of see here as well, the arms kind of do go down 3. This one's also 3. So it's interesting. I think that works though. I think that's a little bit better. And that's good. Lastly, we have to figure out the hat. the coup de grace of the wizard. Let me get some coffee. There we go. I see the hat, but I don't know if I'm quite ready for the hat yet. Let's take a break from clothing and let's figure out just table stuff, I think. You gotta go. Have a fun rest of the stream. Thank you for coming, Jax. Thank you for joining. Hope you have fun doing whatever you decide to do. It's always fun to have people jump in for a bit and chat for a bit, watch for a bit, and do all of those lovely things. Okay. So I'm saying all of that. I'm thinking this back, or the side view, has gotta come down a little bit. And then this has gotta come down a little bit as well. Maybe something like that. It makes it look like a stair, doesn't it? A step for a foot. Maybe something like that a little bit more. Maybe that looks a little funny. So we'll keep it like that, I think. For now, at least. Just step ladder. Sweet. Alright. With all that said, I think it's looking good. And this is the old wizard. All good to go in that aspect. And this was the original perspective. Let's see, this is the side chest and all that stuff. So we're good to go. Okay. Let's try to figure out how they would look in a seat. And we can figure out the we can figure out the, what is it? I forget. We can figure out that nope, I forget. Mine empty. Mine has gone blank. That is a-okay. So we have the front, the back, and the sides. And I think the back arms don't interrupt. Yeah, they don't intercept. So we can go ahead and merge that down like that. Okay, let's see. Some customers should have cool patterns. I think I don't think they can. These are school uniforms. The cloaks, if they took off the cloaks, then maybe. But the cloaks are meant to kind of unity. It's meant to be a strict, orderly form. If you are this part, if you're part of this faction, you are this color. If you're part of this faction, you're this color. It's very strict in that sense. Yeah, sitting pose. I think that's what I was getting onto. Thank you, Disco. Yeah, it's way. Remember I went a little wolf for a moment. Yes, sitting pose is what I had in mind. Indeedy. Their students did not realize? Yeah, they are. The idea is that you are running this cafe in the basement of a magic academy, a magic college. So the idea is that you have all of these students coming together who also want to do cool magic and also want to, you know, go against the grain, but because of the way the school's so strict, they can't. So you kind of come to this secret cafe place where everyone gets to be friends and everyone kind of comes together, and you don't have to worry about it being strict and all of that thing. You just have fun. Hogwarts. I haven't seen much of Hogwarts, but it is a magic academy. But I wouldn't say it's Hogwarts. Hogwarts, they kind of have, depending on personality, is how they have their school things ranked. This is by school of magic. So your necromancers, your cryomancers, all those guys together is how that's ranked. Compared to here, it doesn't matter about your personality, it just matters about what type of magic you can do. And the magic is based off of your family lineage. And the idea is that you can only do the type of magic that your blood allows you to. So cryomancer can't do pyromancer magic. Or so they tell you. I'm not sure if I want to have it where the characters can do other types of magics, but at the very least, the main character Gabby made a new magic that she can also do. More like Owl House. Yeah. More like Owl House, I'd say. Where schools of magic. Yep. Owl. More like Owl House. I do agree. Except combinations? Yeah, I'd say more like Owl House. Kinda, yeah. I'm thinking about it. Never heard of My Dark Academia. That's an interesting one. Is it an anime? All I can think of is Hero Academia. Okay, so for seat and seating positions, this will come down to the chairs and how the chairs are. If we go ahead and... Did I copy again? Hold on. Why is this head? Okay. Interesting. I think I copied stuff again. Hold on. Go back and delete you. Are you good to go now? Yeah, there we go. Let's see. I see. I'll have to look into it then. I do like me some anime. So as far as sitting poses go, it'll depend on the seat. And this is what I was saying before. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do the chair first or how to do it. Right now, we don't need an actual seat. We just need to know how it will look. And in that sense, let's see. Currently, the seats are, if we go back into here, hold on. We can kind of close this. Right now, the seats are this big. And I can kind of grab these guys. They're crates because you start off in a basement. And that's kind of what these sizes are for these seats. So I can go ahead and copy this and paste this. And grab it. That's currently the seat. But we can kind of upgrade the seat to be a little bit bigger in perspective and everything. Again, it's top down. So you should be able to see the top of something as well as the tables. And if I can grab the tables, that should be a little bit easier. These tables are a little bit nicer to use. Let's see. The stream's lagging out. Oh no, let me check. No, it always kind of has some struggles here and there. Let me refresh and see if I can... Oh boy, that's never fun. Okay, it seems to be working on Twitch. Are we good? YouTube, I think we're good on YouTube. I always try to get it working. I get told the internet I have is good, but then it has all these problems, especially on really windy days. I hope it's a little better now. Did it finish reconnecting everything back again? I think hopefully at least. Let me go ahead and copy the tables. So this is the current table. So you kind of have these seats, and then you have the table as the current setup of the game. And let me go ahead and where are we at? I want to grab one of these seats, but I don't know if I can or if it'll let me. If I do this and paste, oh, I can. Wonderful. All right, so this is the current position and stuff of everything. I'll go ahead and grab you. We can deal with the hat later. I just want to make sure the general framing and poses are good to go. So this is the current seat, this is the current customer, this is them waiting, and this is them ready to order. That's the posing. This is just a seat, and the seat idea is that, if we pull it up, a stream ago or so, we made the food, or we just tried to draw food. We have some food we can yoink, and this is not the file I'm looking for. I'm looking for this file. So we have some food we can choose from. We have a, I say donut, but that's not supposed to be a donut. It's supposed to be a sugar cookie. But I can go into, let's do this cake slice. How about that one? We can go ahead and copy this slice. So the idea is that the table should be big enough for a cake slice. So we can go ahead and say this is seating. And here's the cake slice. The idea is that the table should be big enough for a slice and for them to sit and eat the slice at. And right now, this character is big, huge. And if I go ahead and we make the tables bigger, that is a possibility. We also make the seats bigger, that's also a possibility. I think I have, if I go into here, yeah, I do have some seats. So this is a seat from Stardew Valley. You can kind of see the perspective difference. Once before we talked about just the perspective in terms of seat, you kind of see here I have the top and the side. This is a very big top of the table. From Amori, we have a big top and a side. Top side from Chrono Trigger. So it's just a matter of trying to figure out the sizing and everything. We don't need to go into detail, we just need a box to position them on. And right now it is this size, what I'm thinking, because the character's a little bit bigger. I say a little bit, they're a lot of bigger compared to these guys. So we might have to kind of make the size a little bit larger. The characters currently are about, I mean, they're a little bit wider, but this can kind of be the basis of our sitting pose. We can do a mock-up here from our side. We grab this and duplicate it. We can yoink this guy over and try to figure it out. For example, since the hips will end probably about here, maybe we can go ahead and just do one of these numbers like this, and there. They're now sitting. This is the sit pose, like, something like that. Now they're sitting. Maybe it's kind of, you know, rounds out a little bit. This is kind of the sitting pose. Maybe the legs kind of come down a little bit from the knees, so rotate it again. So the sitting pose is more akin to maybe something like this, or kind of or something like that. Maybe it's a little bit thinner here. This is certainly just a mock-up of an idea of how it might look like for them to be sitting. Let me zoom in a little bit. Something like this might work a little bit better. And I'll just fill this in to give us an idea of how it might look. And like this, and then arms, and like that. Something like that. You can kind of see here how we have the hands on the table. We could also do that as well. For now, let's just fill this in. Oops. Fill this in. Continuous on. Something like this, maybe. And then we can kind of pull this in a little bit. Something like that might work. Like that. Round this out a bit. Round this in a bit. Fill this in. Like that. For an idea of what the seating might look like. And if we do that, you can kind of see as well now, that will definitely not work on this table. They'd be way too big. We need a seat that will fit them. And we also want it to be 3/4 in the sense that it looks like it's not 3/4, top down. For example, here I kind of have where you can see where it's just at the lap. And they're sitting down. We can kind of try to figure out, okay, maybe their lap kind of goes up a bit here. Kind of wraps around. Maybe that's the look we're getting here. And then the leg kind of gets curved down. So maybe more so akin to this. With the ropes. The other reason I'm doing uniforms is just to make adding all the characters and the animations and stuff easier. You know, it's also a way to save on time in helping and aiding, as I want this to be a project that's maintainable in its aspects and sizing, but it's definitely gonna be large if I do plan on adding a lot. But I want it to start small. I can add all the other stuff afterwards, but I want to get the basics out of the way for what the idea is, and then we can kind of add all the nice stuff afterwards once we figure out the overall strokes of the game. That's why I'm not too concerned about everything looking perfect. Right now, it's just to get the idea of, okay, we need a way to show that the customer is sitting. We need to show a way for the customers eating, things of that nature. I think this works for now as a sitting pose. We just need a chair now. That's a little tricky. Let's see. Let me move this guy. Maybe this could be the seat. We can kind of make the seating go over a little bit. We'll just grab this green since we're already using it green. As far as seating goes, it might be a chair that maybe looks like this. Like maybe this is the rest of the chair. Something akin to this. We have the back of the chair. Again, we want to use crates right now as a way to show progression in the game. So because you're in a basement at the start, you have crates and things of not cool nature that's very cheap. But as you go on, you get seats and different upgrades from students adding onto your collection. And overall, right now, because it's so taboo, you can't really get too much. Right now, it's just a matter of working your way up to people believing in you and believing you can do this. This isn't just a dream. They believe you can actually be this cool wizard person, is the hope of the game. I think this is the size the crate will have to be, which is a little bit bigger. I say a little bit, a lot of it bigger than the original customer. And this is the seating position. This is the overlayer. We can kind of go back here. This is sitting. And I'm just kind of trying to move and see where the customer might have to sit at. If they sit here, and the seating is here. Oh, wrong thing. This is the seat mock-up. Really, this is the furniture. Yeah, it looks right. Mock-up. So we can decorate all of that later. Right now, we just need the characters to be in the room. Let's see. So if this is the more so mock-up, do we want the characters to hang off of the crates, or do we want them to be flat on the floor? Probably flat on the floor would be a little bit better. So we'll go ahead and move the seated character down. Maybe more so like this is how they sit, to have the seating could be a thing. And then that would mean this furniture mock-up kind of needs to be moved down a little bit. Maybe, oops, not that. The furniture mock-up will kind of move down here. Like this. That is a very small crate to sit on. Especially when you're walking. It might have to be a little bit higher. Is what I'm thinking. Maybe a little bit taller like we had it. So maybe... we can move the character up. To where we have it currently. I think it might look nicer. Something like this instead. And then we have the furniture mock-up come down. Oops. Down like this. We have the top here, and we have the bottom. It kind of goes back in space about here. And this is the top. So it kind of looks like they're not really sitting in the seat, doesn't it? Let's tweak that a little bit. This is where kind of figuring out the sizes of everything kind of comes into play. For example, if we take away our sitting character, the sit or the seat would more so look something akin to this as the crate. This would be the perspective. Then that as the perspective, which is semi-similar. It's a lot bigger now. And we can kind of, just to stay in line with what we currently have, we can kind of make it this color and this color to show top, side. We can also add as well the outline, as it will be an outline. Since this is a crate, so that might be something more akin to this for a newly developed crate. And then we have the sitting. That's this guy here. And now we can have them sitting on top of the seat. The seat might look like that, but if it looks like that, they don't look like they're sitting on the seat, do they? Let's try to modify it a little bit to make it look a little better. For example, maybe we can do something like that a little bit more. Maybe they're hanging off of the seat more. But that leaves so much space, doesn't it? So maybe we can have them have the legs extend out a little bit more, so like this. Have you experimented with highlights? What do you mean by highlights? On Pixelart? Or like hair highlights, do you mean? That's the only highlights I can think of at the moment. That's what you mean though. Not too much with, well, I mean, I have kind of, sorta. Where's it at? She kind of has some highlights on her hair. Not too much highlights have been experimented with. Let's see. This might come down. I mean, it might come down and around very flat like this. The sitting animation. In general, in Pixelart, I have. I can't really show you at the moment, but yeah, I've tried to keep in mind things that are shiny and cool looking. For example, if it's silverware or metal, it might have different highlights. Did you have a highlight suggestion for this? You can kind of see as well, I do have highlights here with highlights on the gold trim of the clothing in the way that it's sparkly. I do want it to kind of glimmer when it's animated, but for now it's just two different colors to show off a little bit of shading and coloring. This can kind of come up to show more of the lap, like maybe more so like this, to kind of show off, hey look, this is the part of the leg, and like that. And this can kind of maybe come down a little bit to show, hey look, this is where they're sitting at. Makes it look like they're sitting flat, or flat-ish at least, and showing off. Part of it's in the front, part of it's in the back. So maybe something like this can kind of help in showing off they're sitting. Does it help a little bit, do you think? And showing off it's kind of the knees. This is where the knees are going. We can kind of move this back a little bit to help look a little better, I think. Maybe we can also bring this in one as well to show off the knees, but I'm thinking it's a little bit too high. I think the body's a little bit too high. We can kind of maybe do something more like this. I think maybe it can kind of come down a little bit, more akin to that. Something like that I feel like is a little bit better. This kind of shows the crunch of the body. And this kind of shows the rest of it. This is kind of the underside here, which I think is fine. Oops, do. Something like this I think is okay. Kind of show, hey look, this is the separation of the body, the two portions. So if that's the answer, then we can kind of maybe bring this down a little bit. Like that. And then we can kind of move that up and over a bit to show off the... And I'm looking at the window here and it looks a little off, doesn't it? Maybe something like this. We could also just round it out. Oops. Round it out here. Maybe something like this instead to kind of show off, hey look, it's getting rounded out, but it doesn't look quite right, does it? let's try adding some roundness here. And I think this works. It just needs to be in more. Something like this, I think, would help more. Something more akin to this. But now it doesn't look round. So maybe let's go 2 out and then 1 in, like this. Makes it look more curvy in a way, doesn't it? A little bit better, I think. It's just a smidge, but it doesn't look too nice when I zoom out. So maybe we can kind of take these two, maybe move them in a little bit, like that. Maybe 1 down here can kind of help. That's not as bad. I kind of think that does help a little bit in showing off the outside. So let me go ahead and get some more coffee. I think so far this is good. We can kind of maybe have the feet hanging a little bit. Like that maybe, but I think this is fine for now. And I think this is a good overall seat. We can kind of maybe even bring this part up a little bit. And it doesn't need to be too top-notch at the moment, just something to get us started. And we can kind of go back in and edit it. But it's 4 right now, and we have until 5. I want to see, what do we need to do again? Let me double check. Let's see. I go into full screen here. We need, oh, hold on. We need walk, sit, idle, and eat. So it's a frozen baguette, the perfect weapon for a crime. I can see it as being deadly. I can see it as being deadly for sure, but I don't know if it'd be a good crime weapon. I feel like something hit by the blunt force object, it maybe would be a good murder weapon, but weapon for a crime, yeah, maybe. People wouldn't guess it. They'd be looking for something else that could cause blunt force. And you could also easily dispose of it by eating it. So mayhaps, I can see it being useful. Interesting for sure. I don't think the cafe will be selling baguettes. More magical sense, and I think that's a little bit, I'm looking up here and I'm not seeing that round edge that I want. Some sort of round feel like this. Might be a little bit better. A little bit, it's a little bit better. As far as table goes, we do need a new table. Currently the table is set at and it might be a little bit easier to do it this way. I go ahead and save it. I make a new layer. I go ahead and grab this rectangle tool. I set the rectangle tool to 1. And then I can just go in here and do this to get an idea for how the table looks. Current table that we have in the game looks like this. And then I can kind of drag it here and you can see the table doesn't look too in perspective, does it? Not at the moment. We kind of need it to be, well, it's gonna be a little bit tricky to tile map out. This is 1, 2, 3. Is this half and half, I think? It looks like half and half of the sprite. It's gonna need to be a little bit wider to fit that other half. About there, I think it's half and half. Like this. Ooh, like that, I think. Fill that in. Get this guy. Fill it in like this. Right. And then now this side. That's what we need to do. So for this guy's gotta come up. I had it to act up a little bit, so I'll give it a second to figure itself out since it's wonky again. So I took some water so it can give a second to catch up. Okay, is it good to go now? We'll certainly try to get the internet working again, but it's always it's wonky. It says it's great and it's good and it's healthy. Oh, hold on. Twitch isn't acting. Well, Twitch is also acting up. Give it a second. Bum. Are we good to go now? We're back? Are we living? Hello? Is anyone out there? It seems good to go though. It's not refreshing anymore. Okay. Yeah. See, everything's even connected by Ethernet cable, but still it's kind of a little bit wonky. We'll see. Eventually, it'll get good, but for now, some technical difficulties are adrift. And hi! Oh, okay, you're back. I thought it was a different name, but welcome, Pineapple Jet. Welcome back. Okay, we're good. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, it's a little tricky sometimes. I get this message at the bottom of my screen saying, hey, it disconnected. Hey, it reconnected. But then sometimes I hear it doesn't do the things it needs to do. Okay. So if this is a single table, as you can kind of see here, you're finally going through your Discord servers, you were having any issues? Oh, that's good. You're going through, getting a little bit of cleanup. So you can kind of see here, I have 3 different types of tables. I have this kind of square table, I have a long table, and then I have this single table. And if we're doing a redo, maybe we can add some circle tables, I don't know, some kind of cool, but circle tables are not crates. So that's why it's very blocky. And you have not been speaking, you're just setting up your project. No, you're fine. You're fine, you're 100% fine. Sometimes it's just, it lags out, and I'm not sure, is it still connecting or reconnecting? It'll say it reconnects, but then there's still some issues, but I'm glad everything seems to be working wonderfully. I'm also realizing this cake got hooked to the hook. There we go. Alright. So the whole point of the tables is that they need to fit two plates. They can fit 2 plates, the table's the right size. And since it can fit 2 plates, it seems to be about the right size that the plates need to be. You need to go through them. You're in like 400. Oof. The good news is that you're finally going through them. That's the great news here is it's having so many. I don't have too many, but I do have some. And they are few. Not few. Many and in between. We have the sitting, and then we can kind of go in and figure out the... Now you're having issues? See? It's so weird. It's really unfortunate. I'm trying to get them figured out, but for now it's a little wonky. Well, it is unfortunate. I'll try to say if there's any other issues. Not other issues, but other things I can tweak about it. But yeah, it's the worst when it's not helping. And I also just remembered why it looks a little off is that they need to lean forward a bit. Let's go back to that sitting animation that we have and have them lean forward a little bit, like maybe here. They'll kind of have their back kind of going like this. More so like that. Oops. This or this. Erase this. Put this here. Like that. That can kind of be a little bit helpful in showing off that they're leaning forward, getting ready to eat. This kind of goes down a little bit like that. And now it kind of looks a little off. So maybe something like that. Maybe even it comes down here. No, I think that helps a little bit. Maybe it can even go one more over. I really do think table seating is gonna be a little bit of a funny issue. Yum cake, exactly, and hi crab man, welcome. Let's see. Where are the arms? Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the positioning right now. As while that table is there, if we add the arms, I did add the arms, I erased them. As right now, if I add the arms, it kind of works, but I feel like the arms are out too far stretched, right? It's a little funny. So I'm trying to figure out distance and everything, but maybe we do start arms then table. You can kind of see here, I have them at the edge. That's probably why I do have them at the edge of their seats. So if we take the character, well, which one is it? Sitting. I don't know, I didn't just read my names. We move them more towards the edge of the seat. It can kind of have them leaning more towards the end. And then we can add the arms, which kind of makes it easier. For example, and we'll put this is the table. Well, this is the seat mock-up. Do I have the mock-up back or no? Okay, so let's delete that. This is the furniture mock-up, I see. This is the seat mock-up. And this is the table mock-up. We'll get rid of the food for now. This is table mock-up. And then we'll have our arms. This is kind of the hands go here. And it'll matter on where we want how the hands to position. And that's a little tricky. You can kind of see up here for our characters. And let me see if I can just yoink them and move them. Oh, if they'll let me at least. Grab them here. There we go. Nope, they won't. Hold on, it's in Old Wizards. There we go. So we can kind of grab these guys to show off the table and the seating. Lower the table? We can try lowering the table. I want to make sure the food is leveled, but yeah, lowering the table. We can certainly give that a try. Let me see about this. Ah, there we go. Okay. Trying to make sure the old seating. There we go. This actually belongs here as well under Old Wizards. And then this can kind of be moved to reflect the wizards where they are currently. Like that. Because this is the old way they used to sit. Now they're kind of sitting here, so let me do this. Makes it a little bit easier. We'll also go to the old wizards and erase this guy. Let's go ahead and yeah, let's try to fix the table mock-up by... I'll go ahead and put this over top of the sitting. We lower the table like this, you think? We could try. So this is table, and then this is arms. We can go ahead and get rid of you. Get rid of you. Ideally, we want the plate and everything to be... Move it down here. As long as it stays even, and I think maybe we can have it up one more. So if we go back to our table mock-up, maybe the table can be this in height to kind of help it fit in the screen, and then fill that in. And then if we go back to the food, we can move it up one, because that's 2 up, right? Oh no. I think this is fine. Or maybe up one so we can show the right hand. And now this is the hands. And this will go above the food so we can kind of tell what we're looking at. Right. So we have a hand here maybe for the food. You gotta go. Thank you for coming, Moon Raider. See you tomorrow. So we have the hand. It's a matter of figuring out how to make it look nice. For now we can have the hand like this. And then we have the arm. Arm kind of goes down here and like that. The issue is the arm. The arm is meshing too well with everything else. It works because it's usually against the lighter part, but because it's now a different portion of the body, so maybe we can go with this light version. That kind of helps. But we might have to choose a different color for the arm. Okay. Maybe we can choose something a little less saturated. Does that help? A little bit. Maybe more purple? More purple. A little bit. Maybe that. I'm just like, we go into color mode. I'd like to be able to see the arm, and you can kind of see how it blends in. So it's not a good look. It needs to be brighter. I think the sleeves need to be bright. So maybe a light blue can help in setting it apart from one another. So maybe something like this for sleeves. And if we go back into our sprite and color mode, you can kind of see it stands out more, thankfully. Let's go for brighter sleeves, I think, for the clothing to make it helpful in seeing the differences. So if we go back into our front, we can change the sleeves. If we go to the back, we can change the sleeves. If we go to the sides, we can change the sleeves. And I think that helps in setting it apart from everything else. Brighter, not too bright. Just bright sleeves so we can tell where their arm's at when they're eating and everything. It just meshes into the background of this, but if we do this, it kind of helps in popping out. So you can kind of see the sleeves a little bit better than if it's like this. That background does help in adding. That's why I have it there. Sometimes the colors I choose are a little bit too akin to the background. Alright, this is food. Call it food. And then this is hand. Okay. So this is where the elbow is. This is about where your belly button is, and then a little bit below your belly button is your pelvis. That's where the pelvis is. The pelvis is about here, the torso is about here. So this is where your stomach is. This would kind of go forward. And I would kind of assume the hand might be here. This is where the hand might be, around that area. So if that is the case, then we can hide the food. In the table mock-up, it might be more, maybe it comes up a little bit more like this to show off more of the table. So it's more at the bottom of the table, if that is to be the hand location. Maybe something like that instead to show it a little bit more. As that way when we have the food and everything, we slide the food up. Now it kind of looks like they're at the table a little bit more, doesn't it? I'm thinking they need to be a little bit more seated or lean forward. The idea, as I said before, is that once you get to further in the game, you'll have better parts of the seat. So you'll have the back of the seat here to kind of help in showing it off. You'll have an actual table instead of a crate. I think this works for now. I kind of scooted up a little bit here, and I think that's okay. I think this works for now, and being half of it, right? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. I think this works for now, at least. And showing off the arms and the side of the body. You might have, as far as the hand is concerned, you might have thumb like this. Might have them even leaning a little bit more. But we don't want them to lean on the table, right? So maybe they can kind of come back a little bit. So if I go ahead and have them sitting, I can move the sitter back a little bit. Then if I do move them back a little bit, that kind of harms the table being 6. More than fine, we can always move it in. If I move them forward, yeah. Because again, one other thing we have to keep in mind is that we have the sitting in the seat. So I'll go ahead and duplicate this just so you can see what I mean. Duplicate, merge down, and then there. This would be if a second person was at the table. This is kind of the, where is it at? This would be a 4-person table. This is a 2-person table though. You can add a slight bend at the knees. Here there is kind of a slight bend. You think a more of a slight bend? Let's see. Oh, more bend down there, you mean? So for example, more here, a bend? Like that, you think? You don't usually sit completely flat. You mean something like this? More akin to going down there? That does look nicer. I don't usually do seating, so this is definitely newer to me. Getting that seating pose correctly. Maybe a little bit more leans like that. Something like that, do you think, instead? Which means this can be moved up more. Like that. I'm thinking maybe their arms are even a little bit more like this. It definitely looks awkward, doesn't it? I'm getting an awkward feel from this overall customer sitting. As usually, again, they're really proper, right? Let me see if I can find some pictures. Sitting in seat. See what poses we can figure out. Some people have a very relaxed pose, some have a non-relaxed. But as they're going to the academy, I feel like some are gonna have proper sitting poses, some aren't. Sitting at dining table. Let's try that. See if we can get some poses like that. Here it kind of helps. I think this one's pretty good. We go into our PRF and let me get some water. You can kind of see they're sitting at the far back of the seat, right? They are leaning a little bit, but that's also because they were engaged with the conversation, so that one's a little bit different. But you can kind of see how the knees hang over. Let me see if I can find a different picture. This one also kind of works as well. I get one more thing of water. Oh no, oh, there's my top. I got worried for a second. So it's sort of more so top-down view. If we take a thing to market, you can kind of see if I draw here, you kind of have his lap here. This is kind of the flat version of the lap. He has his pelvis here, and then we have the legs, and then the bottom drops down. And this seems to be the separator of the two, and then we have the torso and the arm. And even with this perspective, you can kind of see more so like this. It's very flat. And then this is the rest of the table. All of this. And for her, they're going underneath the table. That is something to note as well. How do you sit at a table you can't go underneath? As again, this is a crate, so I think that's also why it's a little funny looking. If I go ahead, maybe I can find some images of a sitting at a table, sitting at crate table. As I know there's some tables like that. I don't know if they're going to have some of that nature. Sitting at more of a table you can't... Actually, yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, as I didn't think about it before, when you're sitting at a table you can't put your knees under, it is very uncomfortable, isn't it? Like overall, because you can't put your knees under it, that means you have to sit closer forward as you're really far away from the desk. Let me see if I can find what I mean, but usually you can have your knees underneath the table. For example, usually, let me zoom in a little bit here. Usually at the table, you have your body, you have the here, and then you have your pelvis, and then you have your knee, under, and then you have the table, like this. That's how you can usually sit down at the table. Because it's a crate, you can't sit down at the table. So So now it becomes a thing of, well, since you can't sit at the table, now your knees have to be further back because they can't go underneath. Because they can't go underneath, you have to scoot to the edge of the table. I can definitely see now why I have that posing. The issue is just it's very awkward posing. Let me see if I can sit at table, can't put legs under. Maybe I can Google that. Maybe that can give us some ideas. I see some poses here where, yeah, there we go. Look at this. Uncomfortable sitting. You can't put your legs underneath the table, so it's uncomfortable. And I think that's why I'm having issues with the issues I'm having, where can't get your legs underneath the table. What do? Here we go. With the images where it's more uncomfortable because your knees can't go underneath it. How do you pose someone where their legs can't go underneath the table? You can kind of even see here in this picture, legs aren't underneath the table, but look how far back she has to be. So this idea of a table, let me right click this as well, where we draw, where you have your legs here and the table's here, like this, and then your legs go here, and then this is another leg, and then this is the body, and this is the head, and then her arms are fully outstretched. That's gotta be uncomfortable. That's gonna be super uncomfortable. So, how can we do it? Have you ever sat at a coffee table? I've sat on my, let's see if I can find images sitting at a coffee table. Sitting at coffee. I have not, I've sat at tables where I'm just on my knees. Sitting at coffee table? Maybe that's something we can do instead. I'm not seeing any images of that, but I have sat at coffee tables where you're just on your knees instead. Maybe something akin to that. Most other games have characters in standing poses on a small chair or a pillow. Could you label a game? If it happens to be Pixelart, I might be able to find the sprites used. Now I'm thinking the sitting pose might actually not be all it's cracked up to be, and figuring out how to use it. Because this is, yeah, usually your legs are able to go underneath the table. But at the beginning stage, and the thing is as well, is the crates tell a story. But are the crates important enough to keep? Is there another way I can show the wear and tear of the game in a way that will show without having to do something that's crates? And I think, yeah, clarity versus story. Do I serve the story or do I serve more clarity? As if the legs are underneath the table, I think that works a lot better. However, it being a crate instead helps serve the focus of it seeming like it's more starter. It's startup. Pokemon Fire Red. Okay, let me see if I can find it. Pokemon Fire Red sitting. Let me see if I can see them sitting down. Here we go. Something like this. That does look a little silly. You could see the restaurant scene on Undertale. Let's see. Undertale restaurant scene. They don't have any tables in that one. Let's see. They're not tables, seats. That one doesn't have any seats. It's just a little awkward. They're just standing. You just walk up to the seat. Here, there's a seat from this here, and they're standing as well. Unless they're in a seat, which is more of a high chair seat, it seems like. I guess it comes up to preference. The thing is, they can put their legs underneath, or at least this is kind of them sitting there. When I wanted to do the eating animation, I wanted it to be a little bit different. So if I go back into Aseprite, taking what that is, if you use pillows instead of chairs, people can sit. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe that might be easier to do. Sitting on their knees and everything can kind of help. It would be a little bit cozier, as initially I did want to do pillows on the tables, pillows on the chairs to help with making them comfier. So if we do them on their knees instead, that might help in the posing. For example, we can kind of cut this, move it, maybe make it a little bit longer, like this, like that maybe. Chairs are hard. Most sprite games don't want the extra work. I agree, yeah. But if we're going to add other chairs and everything, it would be important to figure out how to do chairs. So this is a restaurant game. What is a restaurant game without chairs? If everyone just has to come in and sit. It's not as nice, I think, in figuring out those things. So maybe sitting like this, and then we just have the knees kind of come back like this, and then we have the feet just back here like that for now. And then that means we can have them sitting at the table better. And maybe for now they're sitting at the seat like this. We can kind of bring this one in a little bit to show off the outline. So maybe something like this. We can definitely add a pillow later to add comfort, because I do want to keep the crates just to show off the progression of the game. Later on I want it to be fancier and cooler, but initially I want it to be very start up. We can kind of do like this to show off the posing. We could even maybe round this out a little bit. Something like that. Looks a little funny, but I just want to see if I can get the point across from as far as the tables go. So if we move this table mock-up now, not too bad, not too bad. Maybe even like that a little bit more. Again, I'm doing tile maps, so it's a little special in that sense of wanting to make sure the seat tiling's nice. If I can keep it 8x8, that's good. If we do... I mean, if it's like that, this is fine, I think. And then we kind of have the arms and everything, so we can go back here. We go ahead and grab those sleeves. I would like to have either the arm extended, like here, or to have the elbow on it. But because they're so proper, the elbow's probably not going to be on it. So kind of more like arms here around the table as they're waiting. That is the hope to get it working. So something a little more like this, but you can kind of see they look a little silly like that. So maybe something more like this, and maybe something more like that might work a little bit more. As the table, maybe they're a little bit lean forward and they're sitting. So maybe move a little bit forward. Like this. It's not too bad. Have this move forward like that. Kind of have the back arched a little bit more, and the sitting, something more akin to this. Kind of have it show like they're leaning forward, they're more engaged with their food and everything. Oops, like this. Maybe that kind of goes up here to show off lighting, and then this kind of gets rounded out. And this is just the idea first, and then we can kind of clean it up afterwards. I'm just trying to make sure it looks nice-ish. It looks legible. Looks legible to get the point across, and we can kind of go back and tweak things afterwards once we make an idea. I think, yeah, this is going to be very tricky. And I don't even see the body. The stomach kind of has to come out a little bit more here, is what I'm thinking. So something more akin to this for their arms. Maybe something like that, and then it'd have to be here to add that wrap up. Something to that extent, and then we can kind of add the arms. That's a little bit nicer. Maybe now we can lower the table. We take that table, we lower it some, like this. Maybe like that. Then if we take the arms, maybe we can try the arms doing it a different way. We can grab this color. So maybe instead what we can have the arms do is do something like this. But if it's like that and that, then the hands are here and the hands are here. You can kind of see how I have that. The hands are kind of there and there as well, isn't it? So let's see. That maybe. Kind of be that. Be like that. That does not look like a hand. Maybe like that. And we'll just copy it. Like that-ish. That looks a little funny. I feel like they would have different idle sitting animations depending on the character, but for right now we just need sitting. If I quickly go to my concepts board for characters sitting at tables, let me see where are we at. Necrotype Cafe. Here, I'll pull you into concepts so you can see. So in these game inspirations that we have, we go up here. This is how this character sits. They kind of have their hands on their laps. This character also has their hands on their laps. I forget what game this is. This is a horror game. This is inspiration in cafe designs I've been trying to look at and trying to take inspiration from. You can see in this game, they don't really eat. I forget what this one is. This is Dine Up? Something to that extent. Plate Up. I think it's Plate Up. These customers, they're just blobs. In this game, I want the customers to have character. This kind of makes them look like background characters. But you can kind of see the chairs they're far away from the table. And it's a very top-down look. You can see everything. And here, this one doesn't have customers. This one has customers. The way these customers sit is that they have their hands on their table. This one is lemon cake, I believe. They have their hands on the table, and then they have hands that extend down and up. And then this is my game. Let's see. Maybe we can do something akin to this. Maybe their hands are on their side when they're not eating, and then they pick up the food. Because yeah, some people wait with their hands in their laps, and some people wait with their hands on their sides. If this is a very proper academy, I don't really see a lot of people waiting with their hands on the table, unless they're getting impatient. And if we go back into Aseprite, back here, unless the character is getting impatient, and they're one of those people who have their elbow up here, and then their hands kind of on their head, and they're kind of just tapping on the table waiting. Unless you're that, but I can see if they're waiting, maybe their hands are at their sides, like here. Like this, for example. And then this arm just kind of comes down like this. I can see them waiting more akin to maybe something like this. Maybe their hands are folded. So they have their hands like this, and this, kind of on the sides, and they're waiting on their food. They could be talking to someone else, and at that point you can kind of do little animations with the swivels of the thing. And now I think, this can work. I think that kind of works. Where it's that the hands are here on their laps, but then when the food comes, it's a little bit of a different story. We can have the hands kind of like this. And for now, we can have this as the color in the back. That would change color though. This would kind of show off the hands being weighted on. So if that's the hands folded, and when the food actually comes out, and I'll rename this to be the old hands. Then when the food comes out, these guys right here, how do they show, what would be the eating? And that was also something we needed to figure out. So it goes from that to then, if I go to a new layer, I'm guessing maybe they'd have like a fork. So their hand would raise, they would have a fork, maybe more something like that. And for now, maybe it's just a rotation of it going up and down and up and down and feeding. But I'm imagining they'll have like some sort of silvery fork that they can use to eat. Make it big and just scoop it. Depending on if it's a food, they can scoop it. If it's a drink, they can slurp on it. Something like that, and having them lean over, I think, would be helpful. So if this is the case, we can kind of make the food a little bit easier to see. So we can move the table up once more to help with it looking more like a food they can actually eat from. Let's see. Should it be up here? Maybe up there can work? Should it be like that, and then they can kind of scoop? Maybe that is good. Their hand can kind of rotate to scoop. Oops. Their hand can kind of rotate to scoop down, scoop up, and then they can kind of tilt their head forward like this, sitting copy. So then their head kind of just tilts forwards, leads down, and eats. I think that's good. Kind of a scoop eat type of mock-up. Let me get some water. Okie dokie. With all of that said, I think that's good. We have our sitting and our eating. For now, there doesn't really need to be, well, there should be animation soon. But the point is to get something so that we can tell. As at the moment, it's just a text on screen that's telling you what mode they are. But I want them to be able to see and clarity in the food. As the goal is to have a few animations, they don't have to be completed, but just an idea of what it should look like. With all of that said, we need 2 more. I realized there's actually multiple things that we need from them. We need a character to where are we at? Hold on. I need to write this down. I can write it down here. If I show you as well, We go back into concepts for a quick second. These are all the states they need to be in. We need a reading menu one and a waiting for waiter. So we need one saying, hey look, I have my order ready, come take my order. And we need one of them holding a book to read the menu. If we go back into Aseprite, you can kind of see that's what this one is, the ready to order. This is them saying, hey look waiter, I'm ready to order. And then there's one of them going, there needs to be one of them going reading. So this is sitting. For now, that's temporary sitting. And then see you walk up. I think this is a good table position. I think this is just the right amount of height. And then it'll be interesting to have them walking to the table and then hop up on the seat. We can always maybe lower the seat as well. That is a possibility, but for now I think it kind of feels more cube-like. Because if we lower their seat sitting, it would kind of go down more here. That looks a little funny. I think, oh, I don't even remember where I put them at. This, okay, it is. That's the sitting, that's the table mock-up, that's the seat mock-up. Let's go ahead and duplicate this. Duplicate. And, oh, actually, I just realized that's the sitting. This is the eating pose, eating hands. That's the eating hands. This is the waiting hands. And now we need an order pose. And I think we can kind of duplicate this. This is order. And we also need one for reading menu. Let's actually do that one. I think that one's a little bit easier. Let's go ahead and also duplicate this as well. And this is reading menu. Because all of that will have to be cleaned up and everything. But thankfully, for now, we can stick with the old sprites while we're working on the newer ones and get the game working before we update it with the visuals. Right now, it's just a matter of making sure this stuff works. It's gonna take a while to just get the animations and everything working. Just if I want to do 12 animations for each. We have our waiting hands, our eating hands. We can go ahead and hide this. This is our reading. And then go ahead and hide the order. So when we're reading, our head's kind of tipped down. So we can go ahead and grab this head. Tip it down a little bit. It'll, oops. Reading. There we go. Tip it down a little bit. Oh, that's good. Something like that. A little bit rounded more, but reading down, head tipped. And then, yeah, that was cool. Looks like the head stretched, doesn't it? Yeah, and thank you. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad it's working. Alright, so the order. This is them, and then their eating hands. We can kind of duplicate the eating hands as well. Reuse what we have. And then erase this. And then we need a book. For now, let's just use this. Maybe a book like this, and this. Maybe like that. Okay, we should be reconnected now, hopefully. Is everything to go now? It says reconnected successfully. Okay, I see Twitch is working. Is YouTube working? Are we good to go, YouTube? Are we living again? Hopefully. I'm seeing it moving around and everything. You're back? Okay, good. Yeah. It goes for it works for a little bit and then all of a sudden, bam. Reconnecting. We're back. Good, good. Okay. You missed nothing. I was waiting for a second. Let me get some water. I did fix some settings, but I'll try to fix some settings again to see if I can get it a little bit better for tomorrow's stream. Let's see, we're holding the menu, we're looking down, and now what we need is a order. So that's this guy right here. We'll get the holding menu. We'll also hide the reading menu. This is the order. Water is important, exactly. I always like to take water breaks when things are starting to act up. It's the easiest way to add a little bit of helpfulness. Sips Red Bull. I see. Are you sure it's important? I don't know about that one. So do we want them? I kind of like this. Them kind of turning. It's a 3/4 view though, which is a oof. Okay, let's see what we can do. Order and a 3/4 view. This kind of gets turned this way. This kind of gets copied and pasted, swapped around. Looks so derpy. It kind of gets around, turned around like that. Let's see if we can do a 3/4. Have the face here, kind of coming out. The mouth then kind of gets moved to up here. Like that. Smile here. Oh, it does look so silly. You have the eyes going down. like this, or so like this. It's a little bit more narrow because it's on the other side of the face. So hopefully maybe something more akin to this. Kind of narrow it. It looks so cursed. Oh boy. Let's see. Like that maybe. It's beautiful. That's what it is here. This is art. This right here is art. You can't tell me otherwise. It's beautiful art. Let's see. 3/4. 3/4 is a little tricky, isn't it? Turning that face and getting that certain view. Yeah, I'll definitely be adding the hat back, but for now, it's a matter of figuring out the head. As how can you add a hat on top of a head if you can't even figure out the head? I'm seeing about here. The face gets moved in. This guy comes in a bit, like that. Then the cheek kind of comes out more as it's getting 3/4, like that. The important thing is to trust the process. Oh man, exactly. Just trust. Just have a little bit of trust, a little bit of faith, a little bit of blind hope. That's always very important here. The process is everything. It truly is. Something like that. That looks more like a smirk, and now they look very serious. Oh boy. The ear kind of comes back in face like this. Maybe more so like this. This face kind of looks a little bit too big. We can kind of push this in a little bit. Now it looks a little bit too silly. Looks very cross-eyed. Maybe we can move the eyes back a bit here. Like this. That kind of works, right? A little bit more like this, and we can kind of maybe round it a little bit more. Maybe make the head kind of turn a little bit more to the side, like that. You can bring this over, kind of just moving everything in order to hopefully help and making it look more round-ish. This can definitely feel like maybe it can kind of get a bit of a push to the side. Maybe this face can now come back over here a bit. No, not over a bit. You know, so like that. And then, ooh, this is trickier. You can kind of add the ear a little bit, which means this also gets pushed back in space if it's being turned like that. And more head is coming around, but I don't think I like that. Not only that, but we need this cloak to also come up. We need to have the hand holding up here about the top of their head. And then their arm, which would kind of come up here. This is their elbow. The hand may be like, oh hey, you know, I need some food. Come give me food. I want to order. How do they say they want to order? I mean, they can do that, but I feel like, you know, wizards could do something cooler. I don't know, I'm lighting up a candle or something. That could be neat. For now, at least. Something like this, and then in their order body. It's about to get more disfigured and contortioned. But we have this kind of coming here. Oops. This is the order, right? Ah, I see. The holding hand must come behind it. This is the order hand. Like that. And we'll have the order hand underneath order to help in showing off the order. And then from here, it's kind of like one of these, as it's going up and over to show off the arm. So then this kind of goes up and over. This is the rest of the cloak. And showing off, well, hey, look, this is the arm kind of raising up. I think it needs to be a little bit of a deeper bend here to show off the arm. We can always modify that a little bit later. But I think also the chest would kind of come and turn a little bit. You might get something more akin to this, a little bit more 3/4-ish view as they're turning their body. Maybe something more like this can help in showing off, hey, look, they're turning their body to you in your direction. That a little bit. It does feel a little off. I feel like the arm needs to be extended further. For example, I think the arm might have to come up more, like this. I think that feels a little bit more natural. Something more akin to that. More, hey, here I have something. Give me food. I have the funds. I only need the means. I think that's a little bit better. I'm also thinking this needs to be a bit of a larger swoop there. If we go back to the order, we kind of move this down a little bit. This kind of gets moved up. More of the swoop here. And then we have the rest of it kind of here, and then kind of coming down, up, and then kind of fill that in. Definitely a matter of figuring out these sprites and going from there, I think. Like this, oops, like this. And filling that in. Kind of filling all of that in. Okay. It looks so silly. It's okay, it'll my process. But they look so silly. Oh boy. Especially if you flip it. I always try to flip it every so often, but process time. I definitely am gonna have to work on it more, but let me get some more water. At least the music's nice to relax to. This is painful. So let's see. Yeah, I might have to figure out the actual undertone of the body. If I do this here, you can kind of see if this is the torso, this is the shoulder. The shoulder kind of extends down here with the elbow and the arm. But if the shoulder is raised, then this would be the elbow here. And then this would be the hand. The hand would kind of come up there. That hand's right, arm's not right. So instead, what it might look like if I go ahead and add onto here, it might look more akin to being a swoop up here. Like along that line maybe. But this would kind of go directly up here instead. And then the swoop might be, or let me grab this, then the swoop might kind of move up. So we go up into order and we kind of mess around with it a little bit. I say mess around, we're about to ruin it. Like this instead. Like that. The thing might even kind of, well, I say the thing, the rope might even act a little bit differently. Definitely a matter of playing around with fabrics and seeing how fabrics act and are manipulated. I can go ahead and hide here. It looks a little better, the smidge I think, but it's definitely a matter of just torso and figuring out how that torso bends and shape and moves and contorts and twists. As you go from the torso being like this to the torso being a little bit wider, and with the only being fully at end, and then the torso kind of happens at that side. The kind of side, a little bit wider as it turns in 3D. And here, it's kind of like the center of the torso, and this is, oops. Let me go ahead and edit this. Bring you back here, like so, and then paste. There we go. As it turns in space, you can kind of see the beginning of the side, like here, and then this is here as it's turning. And since this is kind of turning, and let me make sure, let me check my layers. This is the mock-up one. So let me merge this down as well. This is, yep, okay. This is fine to merge down. These guys. As this is kind of turning, their body gets turned and moved. You can kind of see here, this character is hunched over, which is not the plan. I think I have 2 sets of the characters ordering. I think I couldn't figure out which one to decide. If I go back here, yeah. There's one here where they're a little hunched over. This one's a lot less hunched over. This one has the top of the cloak being a lot more open. So maybe that's what I'll do. It'll be a matter of figuring out how the fabric will work. You can kind of see, I really like how there's a sort of triangle shape here. And if I go back to my current one at the moment, there is no triangle shape here. And maybe that's the issue. If we go ahead, that's the bend of the body, the bend of the elbow and everything. If we go back here, maybe what we can do is do something like this. That's a little better. I think that works a little nicer. We kind of add a little bit more like this. I think that works a little more to what we had. Like that, and then that. It's a little nicer. Like this. Where it has that sort of triangle feel. We can then kind of also, so when you're doing your hand, and I'm kind of doing the motion, but it's like a thing of, well, hey order, your hand's in an L shape. And if I quickly go ahead as well and just Google, where are we? Order character, ordering, E-R-I-N-G pose, ordering pose, what do we get? Ordering pose, ordering pose, ordering from restaurant pose. What do we get? We have someone calling down on waiter like this. This is what I mean, this sort of triangle feel. We go back into PRF. You're like, you know, waiter. I require your finest dishes. And what I mean by triangle, if I go into draw, is this is a triangle. That triangle feel. I'm going to have to figure out that triangle feel, but her arm is raised, her elbow then kind of comes up, and her hand is right here. It's above her head. So I'll have to figure out a way to have well, the hand is above the head at the moment, right? But there's not that triangle feel. So I'll have to add that triangle. And she kind of even has a nice outfit that's kind of similar to the mine with the wizard, at least with the cloak. It's a very loose clothing, and then as she raises her arm, it gets swooped up in a swooping fashion, the kind of swooping fashion I want. So I'll kind of have to mess around with that. And I think, you can mess around for a little bit longer and see if I can get that triangle feel. So if I go back into Aseprite, like so, here we are. Back in here, let's try erasing all of you. We don't need you anymore. All of that can go. We'll just take this order hand and use it as our elbow. We can go ahead and show this up. So instead of having that there, let's try having the hand come out first, like the triangle, and then have the hand come up. I think this is a little bit too far out. Let's do this instead. Maybe something like this. And come up, up and out. So something like this. A little bit more triangle-ish. And then we have the hand like that. And then we have it kind of coming up. And we could just have that. And then the thumb like that. Add a little bit more. And in that sense then, I think that the cloak would probably come up to here. Or end at the elbow. It's not a very big one, so it shouldn't extend all the way. And then this kind of comes up and bunches up. I think something more akin to this would work instead of what we had. A more so turning in space, and then these guys would kind of probably be shuffled over a little bit, and everything else would have to be moved slightly to help show off that it's being turned in space. I definitely, yeah, I want these animations to be smooth. That is one of the things I want to occur, especially with the... You can see how here in the center I have it dark to show the separation. I do want that to happen to kind of show it's being pushed together. You can kind of see here, it'd probably be like that. To kind of show it's parting. This might even come down a little bit to show off the different portions. Maybe that even might be a little bit darker. So, hey, look, it's turning in space. So that might even be like that to kind of show the order up. And the ordering hand maybe might have the other hand on the lap. I can't show it on here, but it might be something like eating hands, waiting hands. So it might be one hand there and one hand up. And then it'll be like, hey, look, I want to order. And I think that's a little better than we had. And let's see if we can maybe change the text a little bit more from our ordering. Like that. It definitely looks like they're wearing a mask. It's a little scary. But we'll see, we'll see. Alright, now it's like a thing of, do we want the face to be front facing? If we have it set up like this, and they're still not even looking at you, maybe it's like this. That kind of just looks like they're not even looking at you, like just, hey, look, I have an order. I'm not gonna look at you though, but I have something I want to give you. I think that was a little silly, but it's something to consider. And let me go ahead and hide our, where are we at? This is torso twist. I'll go ahead and hide you. What are you? This torso outline. And then we can go ahead and see, this is order head. I see. We have sitting. There we go. This is gonna get modified a little bit. But it's good progress. We were able to get the front, back, side done. We got a lot of the sitting poses done. No animations, but animations can come after we get the first frame. As animations, that's what it would be. I am pretty sure 4 squared. Hold on, let me double check. The 4 squared is 16. I see. So is it 8 squared? Hold on. Clear. 8 squared then. 64. Gaia. 8 squared is 64. I thought it was 4 squared. So close. Yes, this will need 4 animations. This will need 4 animations. Every one of these will need 4 animations, and that's a lot of animations. As long as we can get the basics down, then we can move on to the actual animation portion. But look at this, slowly but surely. Let me go back into here. But that'll be that for this stream. A little bit of a focused one, quick one. We'll see. I want to get the focus of the channel right now is getting this prototype out. So I'll probably continue working on the game next week for Pixelart stuff, either be it food or cafe stuff and programming, all those nature. I want to get it out soon, as it's 2 months. This is the start of November, and I want to get the game out by the end of the year. So we're running low on time. So let's just work quick, work fast. If you are curious and you want to see updates as soon as I get updates for the game, you can join the Discord, which is here. This is the Discord, as that's the quickest way. I try to work on the game daily or every other day, and I post updates of my progress on the game, so that's the quickest way. Aside from that, you'll get updates of my progress in the